Chapter 924. In addition, Red Hair had arranged everything for them. Every day, they would be surrounded by delicacies and beauties. They were even more satisfied and no longer kept an eye on Red Hair and enjoyed themselves. After a while, Red Hair had spent most of his money. After discussing with the young ninja, he decided to make up an excuse and ask for some money from the two cultivators. After all, they had plenty of money, so it was not a big deal. Red Hair could tell that these two cultivators were the typical idiots with a lot of money. As long as they served them well, it would be a piece of cake to swindle them for money. They were basically two mobile ATMs. Therefore, Red Hair did not plan to seriously look for them. He wanted to swindle more money first. Brother Black Feather, Brother Bai Chi, I have news for you. After the plan was decided, Red Fur came to the two's residence eagerly. As soon as he pushed open the door and entered, he saw that the square table in front of him was filled with good wine and dishes. Hey Yu and Bai Chi were eating and drinking to their heart's content, and there were also a few all-faced beauties snuggling up to them. The two of them had a satisfied expression on their faces and laughed heartily from time to time. They seemed to be having a good time. Isn't this Brother Red Hair? Come, come, come. Sit down and talk slowly. Drink a few cups with us. Bai Chi slapped the butt of the woman beside him and said with a smile, Su, quickly pour some wine for Brother Red Hair and add a pair of chopsticks for him. Got it. Brother Bai, don't you feel sorry for me? It hurts so much. Su pouted and stood up to pour some wine for Red Hair. Then, she winked at Red Hair. Brother Red Hair, come and sit here. Red Hair didn't stand on ceremony. He picked up his wine glass and drained it in one gulp as a form of respect to the two of them. Then, he sat beside Hey Yu and wolfed down a few mouthfuls of food. He smiled and chatted with Bai Chi and Hey Yu for a while. Seeing that the atmosphere was about right, he wiped the oil off his mouth and put down the chopsticks in his hand. Brothers, I've already set up spies in the school. Recently, many students have sent news saying that they've seen the girl in the portrait. I believe that it won't be long before we find out more information about her. Red Hair said with a flattering expression. Not bad, we've all seen what you've done. Hey Yu nodded his head in satisfaction. You've really tried your best. However, I have to warn you that you have to be careful when you do things. When those students find her, you have to inform us immediately. Don't alert them. If she accidentally finds out and takes the opportunity to slip away, it will be difficult to find her again. Alright. I understand Brother Hey Yu's meaning. I'll go back and remind them again. I guarantee that nothing will go wrong. Redhead hurriedly nodded his head in agreement. In his heart, he thought that it was a close shave. He didn't think that these two idiots weren't as stupid as he thought. They had even specially monitored him. Fortunately, he had arranged for those students to pretend to search around the campus. Otherwise, if these two people knew the truth, there would be big trouble. Yes, we are more at ease with you taking care of things. Bai Chi laughed meaningfully. He reached out his hand and pinched Su's smooth cheeks, causing a series of playful cries. In an instant, the sounds of women talking and fists swinging left Redhead dazzled and his lower abdomen burned. After patiently chatting with them for a while, Redhead could no longer sit still. He went straight to the point. Brothers, the reason I came to find you this time, other than to report on the progress, there is another matter. It is. I want to apply for some finding funds. As you know, in order to find that girl, we have spent almost all of our previous funds. So, hee. Oh, isn't it just money? No problem. Why didn't you say so earlier? Hey Yu waved his hand nonchalantly. He pulled out a stack of money from his bag and threw it in front of Redhead. He said casually. If you have no money in the future, just tell me. Why are you wasting so much money? As long as we can find that person, money doesn't matter. Thank you, Brother Heiyu, Brother Bai Chi. In that case, I won't disturb the two of you. You two can continue. I will now send more people to help you two complete your mission earlier. Redhead's wish was fulfilled. He smiled and grabbed the money on the table. He was too lazy to count it and stuffed it into his pocket. Redhead did not care how much money there was. At any rate, these two idiots had said that if he ran out of money, he could come back to them again. He was prepared to ask for it a few more times in the future. At worst, he could just make up some other excuses to trick them. You don't have to be too anxious. Remember to let those students keep a low profile. As long as they can lock onto the person, it's fine. Don't be rash. It doesn't matter if it takes a bit more time. Bai Chi was still worried and reminded him again. Then, he gestured for Redhead to leave. He then continued to flirt with Su Su. Although he said it was for the sake of caution, that was not the main reason. The reason why Bai Chi was not anxious was because he did not plan on leaving the secular world so soon. When he and Heiyu were in the inner martial arts family, they had always lived a life similar to that of a monk. How could they have such a good and happy life like this? Of course, they hoped that Redhead would take as long as possible. After all, it was rare for them to come out and enjoy themselves. When they returned, they probably would not have the chance to enjoy such a life again. Red Hair agreed immediately and was even happier in his heart. Since the other party had spoken, he had even more reason to drag out the search. He didn't stay for long and quickly left with the money. He was ready to go out and have fun with the young ninja. While Bai Chi and Heiyu were living a befuddled life, two beautiful figures were dancing a beautiful ballroom dance in Lanqing University's dance rehearsal room. It was very pleasing to the eye. One of the beautiful figures was Ling Qinyu. The other was a girl with slightly inferior looks and a slightly reserved expression. The two of them were preparing for the gala of the art festival. In the same rehearsal room, some students from other departments were also rehearsing. Although they each occupied a part of the area and did not interfere with each other's rehearsals, Ling Qinyu was like a ray of light. She always unconsciously attracted the gazes of others. The girls were jealous and unwilling, while the boys were full of admiration and amazement. As expected of the school belle, she was so elegant and moving when she danced. It seemed that the first prize of this year's art festival would definitely be Ling Qinyu's. However, even though she was being stared at by so many people at the same time, Ling Qinyu did not seem to feel it at all. She was focused on practicing with her dance partner. On the contrary, her dance partner was slightly nervous. Actually, Ling Qinyu did not want to go on stage to perform. She was not someone who liked to be in the limelight. However, the department's student council officer, Xiaofan, came to find her again and again. She tried her best to persuade her, insisting that she participate. Chapter 925. He even said that as the campus belle, she had to think about the honor of the faculty and bring honor to the faculty. In short, he would spout a bunch of high-sounding words every time. After being asked so many times, Ling Qinyu could only reluctantly agree. She recalled that she had never participated in such activities before. Ling Qinyu was worried that other students would think that she was aloof and unsociable, so she agreed to perform after much consideration. Although she reluctantly agreed to perform, Ling Qinyu wanted to choose her own program and partner. Naturally, Little Peng agreed without hesitation. It was fine as long as she was willing to perform on stage. Besides, her request was very normal. However, Ling Qinyu did not have many friends in Lanqing University, and there were even fewer who knew how to dance. After discussing with Little Peng, she could only find a girl in the faculty who knew how to dance. Outside the rehearsal room, a guy who looked like a young master was looking in through the window. His eyes kept sweeping over Ling Qinyu's chest and butt. He gulped and retracted his gaze with difficulty. He turned to the guy beside him and asked, "Little Peng, have you done what I asked you to do?" There won't be any problems, right? Young Master Zheng, don't worry. It's all done. There won't be any problems for me to do it. Little Peng nodded and patted his chest. That's good. When the time comes, give that girl some money and tell her to pretend that she's having her period and withdraw from the performance before going on stage. Then, this young master will replace her. The corner of Zheng Shiding's lips curled up and he sneered, remember, tell that girl to keep her mouth shut after this. Otherwise, if the news is leaked, not only will she not get a single cent, I will also find someone to gang rape her. Understood? Of course. Of course. That girl is from my girlfriend's dorm. Her family has always been poor and she lives on subsidies, so she's very short of money. As long as young Master Zheng gives her the money, she will definitely keep her mouth shut. Little Peng replied respectfully. Little Peng used to be one of Zheng Shiding's friends. Zheng Shiding had contributed a lot to his successful promotion to the student council, so he was happy to do him a favor. Yes, this is your reward and the girl's advance payment. Zheng Shiding nodded in satisfaction. He took out an iPhone and an envelope with money and handed them to Xiaofan. After it's done, ask the girl to come to the dormitory to find me. I'll give her the rest of the money. No problem. Xiaofan happily took the phone and money and agreed. He also knew that Zheng Shiding's purpose of asking the girl to go to the dormitory was to have sex with her. However, he didn't want to care so much, as long as he got the phone. Putting her phone away, Little Peng smiled and said, Young Master Zheng, I'll be leaving first. You can continue to enjoy it. Alright, go and play. Zheng Shiding's head had long since turned back. He casually waved his hand, and his eyes once again focused on Ling Qinyu's body, admiring her like he was intoxicated. Seeing that young Master Zheng had no more instructions, Xiaofan turned around and walked toward his girlfriend's dormitory. He was going to show off his iPhone to his girlfriend, and while he was at it, he would give the advance payment to the other girl without attracting attention. Not long after Xiaofan entered the dormitory, another handsome boy with fair skin also rushed over and walked toward the girl's dormitory. This person was Shui Gao. He had been wandering around the campus, trying to find the whereabouts of Su Chuxia and Tian Suru. He finally found out that the two girls were in the dormitory, so he immediately rushed over. He had always wanted to get close to the two girls, but he couldn't find a suitable opportunity. It was rare for him to come across a group event like the art festival, so he naturally wouldn't let go of this great opportunity to pick up girls. Knock, knock, knock. Shui Gao stood in front of Su Chuxia's dormitory. He first tidied up his clothes, then gently knocked on the door. But what puzzled him was that there was a burst of hurried footsteps in the room, and then there was a girl's scream, and then there was no more sound. Shui Gao waited for a while, but there was no movement. He felt a little strange, but then he thought that the girls probably wore less clothes in the room, and when they heard someone was visiting, they hurried to change. Thinking that he had figured out the key, Shui Gao reached out and knocked a few more times, then shouted in the friendliest tone possible, Chuxia, Suru, I'm Senior Ice Cream. Are you guys in the room? I have something to talk to you guys about. Coming, wait for a moment. Su Chuxia's reply came from the room, and Shui Gao immediately felt that his guess was confirmed. He didn't say anything more, struck a pose that he thought was the coolest, and waited patiently against the wall. After a few more minutes, the door slowly opened, and Su Chuxia carefully poked her head out. She looked around nervously, and when she saw that Shui Gao was alone, she relaxed and asked calmly, Hello, may I know why you're looking for me? Huh? Chuxia, why are you alone? Where did Suru go? Shui Gao straightened his body, a confused look on his face. He wanted to walk into the room, but Su Chuxia stopped him at the door. She's not feeling well, and she's resting in her room. If you have something to say it here. Su Chuxia stared at Shui Gao cautiously, not budging an inch. Su Chuxia actually hated good-for-nothing rich kids like Shui Gao, but she didn't hide a smiling face. He hadn't offended her before, so she couldn't just close the door and refuse to see him. Yes, yes, yes. She's not feeling well, and she needs to rest more. Shuigao nodded, expressing his warm concern, but in his heart, he didn't think much of it. You two little bitches, why are you pretending? When I get all of you in bed and conquer you one by one, won't you all be obedient to me? What do you want? Su Chuxia ignored Shuigao's fawning and asked coldly again. Shuigao smiled, seemingly unfazed by Su Chuxia's indifference. It's like this, in a few days, our Lan University's art festival will begin. Have you guys thought about what you want to perform? Art festival? Su Chuxia was halfway through her sentence when she heard footsteps behind her. Then, she was pulled away from the door. Su Chuxia turned around and saw Tian Suru running out of the room. She had one hand on her waist, and the other was pointing at Shuigao's nose as she scolded, "Are you crazy? What's there to perform? Sister Suru and Chuxia don't know anything, and they're not interested in participating in that stupid art festival. Do you have anything else? If not, curl up into a ball and get out of here." Chapter 926. Shuigao was speechless as he looked at the aggressive Tian Suruan. Didn't Su Chuxia say that she wasn't feeling well? Why did he look so lively and energetic? Shuigao didn't know that ever since Tian Suruan met the two cultivators from the Jia family at the breakfast stall, she had been paranoid. She kept suspecting that someone was following her or that someone was trying to harm her. She almost had a mental breakdown. Now, apart from attending classes, she rarely appeared in public. Su Chuxia brought her meals from the cafeteria and she ate them in the dormitory. She was chatting with Su Chuxia in the dormitory when she suddenly heard a knock on the door. She thought it was the Jia family and jumped up from the sofa in fright. She tried to hide in the closet in her room in a hurry, but her little toe accidentally bumped into the leg of the table. The scream that Shuigao heard outside the door was Tian Suruan's involuntary scream. Su Chuxia only opened the door after she endured the pain and hid in the closet. However, even though Tian Suruan was hiding in the closet, she heard every word of the conversation outside. When she found out why Shuigao was here, she almost went crazy with anger. Just because of this trivial matter, not only did he hurt his toes, but he was also forced to hide in the wardrobe like a stray dog. He was so unlucky. That was why Tian Soran was so angry. He opened the wardrobe and rushed out. He vented the anger in his heart on Shuigao. Shuigao had hit the muzzle of a gun this time. Usually, Tian Wangchuan didn't go out. How could she take the initiative to show her face in a place like the art festival? Senior Shuigao, thank you for your kind intentions, but we really haven't learned any talent, so we won't take the liberty to embarrass ourselves on stage. You should find someone else. Su Chuxia said apologetically. Since Suruan was unwilling, she had no reason to participate. To be honest, she wasn't interested in the art festival. Don't reject me so early. Actually, the performance of the gala isn't that difficult. It's nothing more than singing and dancing. Just choose something simple. Shuigao's tone was still gentle, but in his heart, he almost cursed Tian Souring to death. He could tell that it was mainly because Tian Suruan did not want to act in the show. That was why Su Chuxia had rejected him as well. Shuigao Yuan thought that it would be a piece of cake. He did not expect things to turn out this way. Even if it's simple, Sister Sour doesn't know how to do it. Since you're so enthusiastic, why don't you do it yourself? Why do you have to look for us? Tian Suruan asked angrily as if he had eaten gunpowder. She was not willing to go on stage. If she happened to be recognized by the Jia clan, she would be in big trouble. Shuigao didn't think that Tian Sourli's attitude would be so firm. He rolled his eyes and came up with a plan. Putting on a bitter face, he said, "It's not that senior wants to force you to. Actually, this matter was brought up by the faculty's teachers. They want the two of you to put on a performance. Impossible. How could the teachers in the department be so bored? Don't try to fool us. Tian Wangshou looked at Shuigao suspiciously. Cough cough, how could that be? Who asked you two to be the prettiest girls in our department? I heard that the other departments also sent their prettiest girls to perform. So, our department can't admit defeat. The teachers hope that the two of you can think of the big picture. After all, we are a team. We can't be individualistic. Shuigao explained sincerely. Humph. Anyway, Sister Sour doesn't know how to do anything. Don't even think of asking me to go on stage. Tian Wangshou snorted and shook her head firmly. Shuigao changed his tone. How about this? No matter which one of you is fine, one of you must go on stage to perform. Then, I will explain to the teachers on your behalf. I believe that for the sake of senior ice cream, the teachers won't make things too difficult for you too. This. Su Chuxia felt helpless when Shuigao put it this way. She glanced at Tian Wangshou and saw that she was in a difficult position. Thinking about her actual situation, she had no choice but to say, since this is what the teachers want, there's no other way. Let me perform. I haven't thought of the specific performance yet. When I think about it, I will find a suitable partner to go on stage with me. What big picture? You're simply making things difficult for me. Tian Wangshou knew that Su Chuxia reluctantly agreed to go on stage for her sake. She couldn't help but glare at Shuigao and sulk. Actually, Tian Wangshou and Su Chuxia didn't expect that there was no such thing as a roll call or a campus bell. Shuigao was just using the teachers as a cover to trick them. They just needed to call the teachers to confirm it and they would immediately see through Shuigao's lies. However, Tian Wangshou had something else to hide, and Su Chuxia didn't think that Shuigao would lie about this. It's okay. Senior Ice Cream is most proficient in talent shows. I will choose a few suitable acts for you and let you decide which one to perform. I guarantee it won't be too difficult. Seeing that Su Chuxia finally agreed, Shuigao secretly heaved a sigh of relief and promised with a smile. Shuigao was thinking about what kind of show he should arrange for Su Chuxia as he made the guarantee. Actually, he had the same idea as Zheng Shiding. He planned to wait for Su Chuxia to find a partner, then threaten and bribe her into going on stage. Then, he could kiss the beauty. Although Tian Wangshou wouldn't be participating, Su Chuxia's looks and figure were top-notch. She was also a rare beauty. Moreover, she had a weak personality. Even if he wanted to take advantage of her, she would have no choice but to let him do it on stage. She wouldn't dare to make a sound. Oh, then you can go back and choose slowly. Sister Wangshou won't keep you company. Chuxia, let's go. Tian Wangshou snorted coldly and dragged Su Chuxia into the room. Then, she hooked the door with her foot and slammed it shut with a loud bang. Ouch! Shuigao was still standing there with his imagination running wild. He didn't expect that the closed door would hit his nose. He couldn't help but cry out in pain. He felt like he was seeing stars, and his vision was blurry. He subconsciously touched his nose. His hand was bright red. It turned out that the collision had actually caused his nose to bleed. Motherf *King B *TCH, why are you so arrogant? When you become my toys, let's see if you still dare to be so arrogant. Shuigao covered his nose and cursed under his breath. Then, he left the female dormitory angrily. While the students from the other faculties were busy rehearsing, the ancient martial arts department was not idle. They all gathered in the martial arts hall of the student market and discussed what they should perform during the art festival. Kai Zhuwei, at a time like this, don't just focus on your martial arts manuals. Didn't Professor Zhong tell us? Our faculty has to perform 3 performances. We haven't even figured out a single one. You should at least think about it. Jia Muzhen said angrily. Chapter 927. Now everyone was thinking about what to perform, but Kai Zhu was still sitting there and reading. Why didn't he have any sense of community? Oh, it's just a performance. Is it that difficult? Let's learn from the other classes and sing a song, then do 2 martial arts performances. That way, we'll have 3 performances. Kai Zhu put down the book and said lightly. Then, he picked up the book again as if he was talking about something as simple as eating and brushing his teeth. Everyone looked at each other and didn't mind Kai Zhu's disdain. Instead, they felt that what he said was reasonable. Anyway, the other departments had arranged it this way. The boys turned to look at Cheng Menjing and Ling Qianxue. Normally, the performance would be girls singing and dancing, while the boys would only perform martial arts. Xiaofan knew that it wasn't convenient for Miss to show her face in public, so he suggested, how about this? Since we're ancient martial arts majors, why don't we perform a group martial arts? Then we can make a golden shield, iron shirt, or something like that. We can also interact with our classmates and invite them to come on stage. This program will be fun and exciting enough. After all, everyone here who chose to enroll in the ancient martial arts department had to have some strength. Putting aside himself and the miss, that Chick Xing and Ling Qianxue were both real cultivators. Although Wang Zhengtian had just recovered from his injuries, he was a solid stage 3 inner force cultivator. Even if he was beaten up by an ordinary person, he wouldn't have a problem. On the surface, only Jia Muzhen and Kai Zhu's strength was unknown. It seemed a bit mysterious. However, Xiaofan thought that Jia Muzhen, as a disciple of the Jia family, shouldn't be just for show. He just didn't know which realm he had reached. As for the latter, he didn't know anything about him. However, seeing that this guy was reading martial arts books every day, Xiaofan guessed that he had some skills. Great! Xiao Yi's idea is good. Wang Zhengtian nodded in support. Yes, it's really good. In this way, we can also promote the martial arts club. It's killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Jia Muzhen happily agreed. The others didn't have any objections either. Cheng Menjing guessed Xiaofan's intention at once and was secretly relieved. In addition to not wanting to show her face, there was actually another reason. She was not good at singing since she was a child. After the general direction was decided, everyone discussed going up on stage together and performing a combination of sanda or something. After all, there were less than 10 people in the entire class. They could be counted on their fingers. Since they were already on stage, there was no need to think about other performances. But this time, Wang Zhengtian didn't agree. Instead, he raised an objection. I think a mixed martial arts team is too boring. That's just a normal rehearsal. What's the difference between that and acting? As martial artists, what we want is a sense of realism. Do you have any good ideas? Jia Muzhen asked from the side. Wang Zhengtian rubbed his chin and thought for a while. Then, he slapped his thigh and said, I got it. How about this? I'll perform chopping bricks with my bare hands, and Mu Sen, you'll perform smashing rocks with your chest. Otherwise, sanda won't attract the attention of other students at all. Pfft! Xiaofan suddenly burst into laughter. He thought Wang Zhengtian could come up with some good ideas. He didn't expect it to be this kind of street performance, and it was a relatively low-level one. But to Xiaofan's surprise, everyone listened to Wang Zhengtian's suggestion and applauded. Xiaofan was even more speechless. He didn't know what these people were thinking. Could it be that their cultivation was trained by chopping bricks with their bare hands and smashing rocks with their chest? Xiao Yi, you're also from the martial arts club. You can assist me and Jia Muzhen. Wang Zhengtian glanced at Xiaofan and felt that he looked thinner than Jia Muzhen, so he probably wouldn't be of much use. Wang Zhengtian instructed, during the performance, you will help me hold the bricks and then hit Jia Muzhen with the hammer. Okay. Xiaofan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was a great perfection of Demon King level 10, yet he had to be the assistant of 2 performers. Just thinking about it made him speechless. Then let's start rehearsing now. Let's familiarize ourselves first in case something goes wrong. Jia Muzhen stood up excitedly. Wang Zhengtian nodded and instructed, Xiao Yi, help me find some green bricks and a big rock. Then, let's start rehearsing. You take the hammer and hit Jia Muzhen, no, hit that rock to practice. Green bricks are easy to find. There's a new dormitory being built at the west gate. It's fine for me to get a few, but, where can I find such a big rock? Besides, even if I find it, I can't move it by myself. Xiao Qun said with a bitter face. The reason why he said this was that Xiao Qun didn't want to expose his strength in front of everyone. Otherwise, let alone a big rock, he could even carry a car back. Oh, you're right. Wang Zhengtian thought about it and said, there should be a lot of big rocks in the mountain behind the school. You and Jia Muzhen go get some green bricks first. I'll take care of the big rocks. We'll meet here later. After that, Wang Zhengtian didn't wait for Xiao Qun to agree. He went out the door and ran toward the back of the mountain. Xiao Qun spread his hands innocently. Since Wang Zhengtian had already assigned them, he didn't express any opinion. He went to carry the bricks with Jia Muzhen. Not long after, the two of them carried a pile of green bricks back. However, what surprised them was that when the two of them arrived at the martial arts gym, Wang Zhengtian was already waiting inside. His face wasn't red, and he wasn't out of breath. It looked like he had never been out. However, compared to before, there were a few more big rocks on the floor of the martial arts gym. Each one seemed to weigh 100 or 200 pounds. After everything was prepared, Wang Zhengtian and Jia Muzhen began to rehearse. The two of them were very powerful. Wang Zhengtian could split more than 20 green bricks at once. Jia Muzhen was pressed down by a few 100 pounds of rocks, but he didn't seem to be afraid at all. He didn't feel suffocated at all. Instead, he looked relaxed. Xiao Qun stood beside Jia Muzhen. When he first raised the hammer, he was a little hesitant. He was worried that he would injure Jia Muzhen internally. Xiao Yi, it's okay. Just hit it with all your strength. It won't hurt me. Jia Muzhen saw Xiao Qun's hesitation. He secretly winked at him and showed an expression that said, you know what I mean. Xiao Qun knew what Jia Muzhen meant. As a member of the internal pugilistic world, this was nothing to him. He nodded, controlled his strength, raised the hammer in his hand, and smashed it down. With a loud boom, Xiao Qun's original apprehension disappeared in an instant. In that instant, the aura that Jia Muzhen released was actually that of a 10th layer martial general level perfection. Chapter 928. In the secular world, this kind of strength was simply heaven-defying. This kid actually hit it so well before. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted to perform breaking rocks on his chest, he probably wouldn't have revealed it so easily. However, Xiao Qun didn't expose him. After all, Jia Muzhen's strength just now was just a flash. The moment the hammer fell, Jia Muzhen circulated his mental cultivation to protect his body. When the hammer fell, Jia Muzhen immediately dispersed his strength. This speed was so fast that even Wang Zhengtian couldn't see it. If Xiao Qun wasn't a cultivator and had sharp observation skills, he probably wouldn't have been able to see it either. Miss Xing and Ling Qianxue, who were watching from the side, looked at each other in puzzlement. They knew Wang Zhengtian's strength, but they didn't carefully observe Jia Muzhen's cultivation. Just now, they didn't discover Jia Muzhen's true cultivation, but they knew that this guy was definitely not an ordinary person. Otherwise, if the hammer fell, even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. Kai Zhuwei, on the other hand, was still hugging the martial arts manual, squatting in the corner and reading with great interest. He didn't care about what happened around him at all, as if the whole performance had nothing to do with him. Everyone's rehearsal ended in the evening. As tomorrow was the weekend and also the day of the art festival, after the rehearsal ended, everyone went back to rest and prepare for tomorrow's performance. With the previous experience, Xiaofan booked a hotel room early. After the rehearsal ended, he brought Cheng Menjing and Ling Qianxue over. Miss Xing quietly followed behind the three of them. After seeing them enter the same room with her own eyes, she was relieved and returned to the dormitory to wait for Ling Qianxue's good news. The alarm has been lifted. That ladyboy has left. In the room, Xiaofan withdrew his divine sense and stretched. He really didn't understand Miss Xing. Why did she secretly follow him again? Could it be that there was something wrong with her? However, since she had left, Xiaofan couldn't be bothered. If she liked to follow, then let her be. If she didn't leave, Xiaofan really planned to tease her. That person is really sick. Why does a good girl like to cross-dress? Is she a transvestite? Cheng Menjing curled her lips and complained, also, he always stares at us sneakily in class. I'm always on tenterhooks, afraid that he'll expose us. After Cheng Menjing entered the room, she had already returned to her original appearance. Everyone present knew who she was, so there was no need to hide anymore. It was also very tiring to maintain the illusion with her vital energy. Ling Qianxue didn't respond. Ever since she entered the room, she had been troubled. She sat on the bed without saying a word. No one knew what she was thinking. Maybe the people in the martial arts world are a little weird. If you don't like that ladyboy, then you should work hard on your cultivation. When your strength reaches the peak of Golden Core Stage Level 9, you can go beat her up to vent your anger. Xiaofan smiled indifferently. With Xiaofan's current strength, it wasn't easy to teach Xing Chick a lesson, but if he had the help of the fire of the underworld and in Xiama, he would definitely be able to beat Xing Chick up. Ever since the flame of the underworld and in Xiama slowly woke up, Xiaofan's cultivation had a substantial breakthrough. His confidence had also gradually returned. Previously, he was tormented by Ma Baixia and Xing Xiama to the point where he was hovering between life and death. Now, he finally had a chance to vent his anger. Of course, Xiaofan was not stupid. Now that Xing Chick still had doubts about his identity, he naturally wouldn't take the initiative to expose his identity. At most, he would use illusion to tease her. Tisk, I'm too lazy to fight and kill. This glorious and arduous task is left to you to complete. Cheng Menjing said as she walked to the bathroom, but suddenly cheered. She came back and pulled Ling Qianxue's hand. Qianxue, let's go take a bath together. I saw a big bathtub in the bathroom just now. We can take a bath together and rub each other's backs. I haven't taken a bath for a long time, I really miss it. Xiaofan's strength had skyrocketed, so he didn't have to worry about anything. He planned to withdraw some money after a while, so he specially chose a luxurious room with a big bathtub. However, this was originally used to increase the couple's interest, but Cheng Menjing naturally excluded Xiaofan. The reason why she asked Ling Qianxue to go with her was that Jean Bebe had been away for a long time. Previously, she used to take a bath with Jean Bebe. Now, she didn't have any good friends, so they couldn't be together. However, Ling Qianxue was also considered one of them, so Cheng Menjing didn't avoid it too much. No need. You go take a bath first. I'll wait for you to finish. Ling Qianxue came back to her senses, shook her head, and tried to squeeze out a smile. Qianxue, what's wrong? You look unhappy. Is there something on your mind? Xiaofan sat next to Ling Qianxue, hugged her waist, and asked softly. Did that ladyboy bully you again? Don't be afraid. I'll ask Xiaofan to beat him up later. Just take it as helping you. Cheng Menjing sat on the other side of Ling Qianxue, waved her little fist, and said angrily. Thank you both. Feeling the care from Xiaofan and Cheng Menjing, Ling Qianxue was very touched. For a moment, she didn't know what to say, and her eyes flickered slightly. It's nothing, we're good partners. Cheng Menjing said with a smile. Yes. We'll give you some advice. Maybe the problem can be solved. Don't just stare blankly by yourself. Xiao Chen rubbed Ling Qianxue's hair. Actually, it's like this. Ling Qianxue nodded, then told them what Xing Chick forced her to do, as well as what method she used to make Xiao Chen take the bait. I don't know what to do, this guy is too shameless. He can even think of such a despicable method. After listening, Cheng Menjing was so angry that her face turned red. Was this chick really a girl? How did she think of such a method? Oh. Xiao Chen lowered his head and thought for a while. His eyes lit up, and he said with a smile, "That's easy. Just go back and say that you failed. I didn't take the bait at all. Then, Lady Boy won't give you such a rotten idea again." Why did I fail? If I said that for no reason, she definitely wouldn't believe me. Ling Qianxue asked with a face full of confusion. Although her acting wasn't bad, it had to be reasonable so that Xing Chick wouldn't suspect anything. It's very simple. Just say that at the critical moment, you weren't willing to give it to me, so I went to find Sheng Yaoyao and left you hanging. Just say that, she definitely won't suspect anything. This kind of thing is too normal. Xiao Chen explained with a smile. He felt that Xing Chick might have a problem with her IQ. He brought 2 girls to get a room. If one of them didn't give it to him, couldn't he find the other one? Chapter 929. In your dreams. Cheng Menjing secretly rolled her eyes and muttered. I was just thinking of a way. Xiao Chen smiled. Cheng Menjing lightly snorted. She understood that this was indeed the case and didn't argue anymore. Right, why didn't I think of that? Ling Qianxue's eyes brightened. She realized that this was indeed a good excuse. The stone in her heart was finally put down and she revealed a smile that she hadn't seen in a long time. She also blamed herself for being too stupid. Why didn't she think of this? Otherwise, she wouldn't have worried Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing. Alright, don't think so much. Since the matter has been resolved, let's go take a bath. Cheng Menjing stood up happily and reached out her hand to take off her clothes out of habit. She suddenly saw Xiao Chen looking at her dumbly and immediately retracted her hand, planning to take it off in the bathroom. Although Cheng Menjing and Xiao Chen had already dual cultivated a few times, it was still a bit hard for her to accept to be naked in front of Xiao Chen. The young miss was a reserved person and couldn't get over the hurdle in her heart. She still needed time to slowly get used to it. But Lady Boy. Cough cough, what if young Master Xing continues to think of some messy and lousy moves and forces me to do it? We can't always be led by the nose by him. Ling Qianxue hesitated for a while and opened her mouth again. In the end, she almost let it slip. She realized that ever since she got together with Xiao Chen, she seemed to have less and less respect for little Miss Xing. She no longer had the respect a subordinate had for her superior. Yes. That's true, we should indeed counterattack. We must take the initiative. We can't always let young Master Lady Boy make the first move and then we'll be tired of defending. We have to strike first. Xiao Chen nodded in agreement. He pinched his chin and said, let me think, is there a suitable method, then take your time to think. We'll go take a bath first. Cheng Menjing pulled Ling Qianxue and shyly walked to the bathroom. Hearing the sound of water and laughter coming from the bathroom, Xiao Chen didn't have any thoughts. Instead, he held his chin and fell into deep thought. In Xiao Chen's opinion, although little Miss Xing was hateful, she was someone worth using. If he used the right method, he might be able to get some information from her. After a while, Cheng Menjing and Ling Qianxue finished showering and walked out with towels wrapped around them. Seeing that Xiao Chen was still deep in thought with his head lowered, the 2 girls didn't dare to disturb him. They quietly sat by the bed and helped each other dry their hair. Xiao Chen saw that the 2 were sitting by the side and didn't dare to speak loudly. It was quite boring, so he temporarily put aside his thoughts and didn't plan to think about it. He called the two of them to start the 3 types of cultivation. Anyway, he could multitask and think while cultivating. It wouldn't take up any time. Ling Qianxue was very smart. Xiao Chen only gave her a simple instruction and she understood the method of dual cultivation. The 3 of them sat in a triangle with their palms pressed against each other. They began to transfer their energy and immerse themselves in cultivation. Cheng Menjing cultivated for a while and felt that the speed of the 3 of them seemed to be a bit faster than dual cultivation. She was happy and closed her eyes. She began to use all her strength and speed to transfer her energy. However, as they cultivated, Cheng Menjing suddenly felt that the energy from Xiao Chen's side was cut off for some reason. On the other side, Ling Qianxue's palm was no longer pressed against hers and left. Other than the breaking of the energy, Cheng Menjing also heard Ling Qianxue's low moans. She didn't know what they were doing, but the entire bed was also lightly shaking. Surprised, Cheng Menjing opened her eyes and saw that Xiao Chen and Ling Qianxue were rolling together. Ling Qianxue seemed to be enjoying it but was also shy. She bit her lips and closed her eyes, but she couldn't help but let out sounds. Cheng Menjing was so angry that she almost went crazy. However, she couldn't just throw a tantrum, so she could only cover her ears tightly. Even so, the whispers of the 2 people on the side were like magic sounds, intermittently passing into her ears. After enduring for a while, Cheng Menjing felt that her body was involuntarily reacting. Her face was also so red that it was about to drip blood. She didn't know if it was because she was angry or hot. Helpless, she snorted, gritted her teeth, and stood up. She put on her clothes and left the room, closing the door behind her. After wandering aimlessly for half an hour, she received a call from Xiao Chen, saying that they were done and asking her to come back. In fact, Xiao Chen's fighting ability was not limited to half an hour. However, although his body was entangled with Ling Qianxue, his heart was still thinking about the young Mississippi. He was afraid that she would encounter some trouble wandering outside alone, so he ended it hastily, so that she could return to the hotel earlier. Please. Next time before you start, can you tell me first? I can also leave early to make room for you. After a while, Cheng Menjing walked into the room with a face full of displeasure. She said angrily, "You said that you want to cultivate 3 times together, but in the end, you completely don't take me seriously. This is too much." Ha ha ha. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Xiao Chen explained with a dry laugh. Seeing that Cheng Menjing's expression was not good, he quickly changed the topic and said, "However, I have already thought of a way to counterattack young Master Lady Boy. It may not succeed, but at least it should be able to buy some time so that he won't make things difficult for Qianxue in the short term." Oh? What way? Cheng Menjing was stunned. Just now, Xiao Chen was still thinking hard and had no way to deal with Xing Qianxue. How did he come up with an idea after doing it with Ling Qianxue once? Could it be that he relied on that, to get inspiration? Cheng Menjing's imagination was running wild, but Ling Qianxue couldn't care less. She asked urgently, "What do I need to do?" She had been tormented by Xing Qianxue to the point where she couldn't take it anymore. Right now, she was grasping at straws. It's very simple. When you go back, tell young Master Ladyboy this. Xiao Chen turned his head and told Ling Qianxue his idea in detail. Oh. Ling Qianxue furrowed her brows and thought for a while. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She understood Xiao Chen's intention. "Xiao Chen, will your idea really work? I see that young Master Ladyboy is very cunning. I don't think he'll be so easy to trick." Cheng Menjing asked with some doubt. After all, Xiao Chen's idea couldn't stand scrutiny. As long as Xing Qianxue was slightly on guard, she could easily see through his true colors. Then, all the preparation from before would be wasted. What are you afraid of? Life is like a drama. It all depends on acting skills. I believe Qinxue can handle it. Xiao Chen waved his hand disapprovingly. He turned his head and said to Ling Qinxue, "You don't have to wait until tomorrow morning. You can go back and report now. This will make it look more real and will make it harder for young Master Ladyboy to suspect you." Chapter 930. Okay, then I'll leave first. I'll let you know as soon as there's news. Ling Qinxue nodded, put on her clothes, and left the hotel. Xiao Chen and Cheng Menjing, on the other hand, sorted out their emotions and continued the unfinished dual cultivation. Although the young miss was affected by Xiao Chen and Ling Qinxue's exercise just now, and her body had an involuntary reaction, after going out and experiencing the cold wind for a while, that feeling had already disappeared. When Ling Qinxue returned to the dormitory late at night, she discovered that Xing girl had not gone to sleep yet. Instead, she was sitting on the sofa in the outer room cultivating. Ling Qinxue thought to herself, "Just nice, I don't have to take the initiative to find you." She took a deep breath, adjusted her emotions, and pretended to be wronged as she silently walked over. You're back? How come you're back so early? Did you find out Xiao Yi's true identity?" Xing girl heard the noise and saw that it was Ling Qinxue. She couldn't help but ask in surprise. She thought that Ling Qinxue would spend the night at the hotel. She didn't think that she would be back before midnight. She was a bit puzzled. What was going on? Sob sob sob. I did what you said just now, and Xiao Yi ignored me. He directly kicked me out and turned around to do it with Cheng Yaoyao. Ling Qinshue's tears fell like pearls from a broken necklace. Xing girl was shocked. She originally thought that her plan was flawless. She didn't think that it would backfire. Looking at the beautiful Ling Qinxue, Xing girl frowned and said, "Is this Xiao Yi blind? You didn't give it to him, but he didn't want it and even kicked you out. He would rather find that average-looking Cheng Yaoyao? Is he not interested in beauties?" Xing girl was puzzled. What kind of person was this Xiao Yi? He would rather give up a beauty like Ling Qinxue than reveal any information. Was he really Xiao Chen in disguise? But it didn't seem like it. Yes. Sob sob sob. I don't know what's going on with him. What should I do now? Ling Qinxue wiped her tears and asked innocently. You're asking me? How would I know? Little Miss Xing was speechless. Frowning, she said impatiently, "Don't keep crying. Crying won't solve the problem. Hurry up and think of a solution." Okay. Ling Qinxue secretly pouted and took out a tissue to wipe her face. She lowered her head and pretended to think. Little Miss Xing glared at Ling Qinxue. She was a little unhappy. She didn't complete her mission, yet she still had the nerve to cry. Wasn't she ashamed? After a while, Ling Qinxue seemed to have thought of something. She abruptly raised her head and said, "That's right, I thought of an idea. It should be of some help to our plan." "What idea?" "Don't hide it, hurry up and say it." Little Miss Xing hurriedly urged. "I remember that we saw Xiao Chen's information before. He seems to have been looking for his father, right?" Ling Qinshue's expression was a little uncertain as she asked weakly. "Yes, that's right. Continue." Little Lady Xing thought for a moment and nodded. She didn't know what Ling Qinxue was trying to express. "I feel that since we can't directly ask for his true identity, why don't we consider starting from this aspect?" Ling Qinxue said as she paused. Her speech speed was neither fast nor slow. She could see that little Lady Xing was a little hooked, so she deliberately wanted to whet her appetite. "Don't beat around the bush. What do you want to say? Be more direct." Little Lady Xing was very depressed. This Ling Qinxue used to be quite capable. Why did she become so wishy-washy after doing it with Xiao Chen? "It's like this. It's said that the mastermind behind the disappearance of Xiao Chen's father is Qi Tian's sect. Then, Can we use Qi Tian sect to inquire about this? Once we know the ins and outs of this matter, I can use this information to probe Xiao Yi. If he really is Xiao Chen in disguise, then he will definitely pursue this matter at all costs. Ling Qianxue analyzed methodically. Oh. Little Lady Xing's heart moved. What Ling Qianxue said did make some sense. From the previous few times when Xiao Chen searched for his father, it can be seen that he cares a lot about this. So, I feel that the success rate of this method should be quite high. Ling Qianxue saw that little Lady Xing was moved, so she added fuel to the fire. This method was what Xiao Chen told her. This was because Xiao Chen really wanted to find out the whereabouts of his father, but he couldn't find a suitable entry point. Now that little Lady Xing, a disciple of Qi Tian sect, was here, it became much simpler. This is a method, but are you sure it will work? What if he continues to play dumb after learning about his father's whereabouts? Or what if he just runs away and runs to find his father's whereabouts? Little Lady Xing asked. Little Lady Xing wasn't worrying unnecessarily. After all, Xiao Chen was too cunning. She had already been fooled by him many times. Think about it. Right now, both of us are in our original appearances. If he wants to play dumb and pretend not to know us, then normal methods of probing won't work. Didn't we try many times before? So, I feel that we can only rely on a fierce medicine to make him reveal his true colors. Ling Qianxue wasn't nervous at all and spoke frankly with assurance. Actually, she had already guessed that little Lady Xing would ask this, so she had already prepared the answer to this question. What you said is somewhat reasonable. I didn't think that not only did your strength increase recently, your brain has also become much more intelligent. You're worth teaching. Little Lady Xing was suddenly enlightened. She nodded her head and praised Ling Qianxue. Please don't say that. It's all because I was able to learn from young Master Xing that I was able to improve so quickly. Seeing that she had successfully convinced little Lady Xing, Ling Qianxue's heart relaxed. She smiled humbly and said a few words of flattery. All right, your method is indeed feasible. I'll go ask the higher-ups right now. After being flattered a few times, little Lady Xing's heart felt better. She nodded her head in satisfaction, picked up her phone, and walked towards her room. After little Lady Xing walked into her room, Ling Qianxue secretly let out a sigh of relief. She originally thought that there would be a lot of twists and turns. She didn't think that things would progress so smoothly. With just a few simple words, this matter was settled. Elder son, this is little Xing. I have something to ask. Little Lady Xing didn't care that it was already late at night. Without hesitation, she dialed Elder Son's phone and explained the situation. Luckily, Elder Son wasn't asleep at this time. He was cultivating, so he didn't reprimand little Lady Xing. Oh. I'll go ask around. Wait for my news. After Elder Son heard this, he felt that little Lady Xing's suggestion was indeed reasonable, so he agreed. Oh right, Elder Son, do you have any news about that Ma Wuxia? Little Lady Xing asked. Chapter 931. Not yet. You don't have to worry about that. Focus on your own matters first. The sect will keep an eye on Ma Baobao for you, Elder Son said. Yes, your subordinate obeys. Lady Xing hung up the phone and sighed softly. The next day was Saturday, and it was also the opening day of the art festival. That afternoon, students from all majors swarmed into the auditorium from every corner of Lanqing University. Some people who arrived right after lunch managed to grab a good seat in the front row, while those who arrived late could only sit in the back. Some people who arrived just before the start couldn't find a seat and could only find a worn newspaper to sit on the ground. At 6:00 sharp, the most popular dance song accompanied by the opening dance kicked off the art festival. A group of young girls dressed in sexy outfits danced to the rhythm of the music on the stage, waving and smiling at the audience from time to time. The auditorium was packed with people and there were no empty seats. Many young and inexperienced boys waved excitedly at the girls on the stage. They seemed to be freshmen who had just entered the school. As for the senior students, their expressions were not as enthusiastic. Apparently, they were already used to it. However, compared to previous years' galas, the number of people and popularity in the auditorium was much higher this year. There was no other reason but because this year's program list had been revealed in advance. There was nothing special in the program list, but the most important thing was that the bold school beauty, Ling Qianyu, and the new school beauty, Su Chuxia, would both perform on the stage tonight. This was something that had never happened before. Therefore, even the otakus who did not like to go out and always stayed in their dorms to play games came to support, just to see the new and old school beauties. After the opening dance, the MC went on the stage and said some warm-up lines. Then, the programs prepared by each faculty officially began. This year's programs were very exciting. There were love songs, hot dance, magic, acrobatics, crosstalk, skit, and so on. There was everything. Perhaps it was because they did not want to be outdone by the school beauties, but every program was full of energy. From time to time, the auditorium would erupt with cheers and laughter. It was very lively. Unknowingly, more than a dozen performances had passed. The two heavyweight school beauties still had not appeared on stage. However, the boys in the audience who were holding the program list were not in a hurry. Instead, they were waiting with their eyes wide open. Because the next performance was Ling Qianyu's ballroom dance. At this time, the performance had ended. After the performers bowed and left the stage, everyone was looking forward to it. However, they saw the host running up the stage in a panic and accidentally tripping on the steps. The students below the stage immediately burst into laughter. They all thought that Ling Qianyu was about to go on stage and the host was nervous. "Dear students, I'm really sorry. I've just received news that there's been a small accident in the next program. We'll have to postpone the performance for a while. Let's postpone the next program, a male vertical flute solo. Let's welcome student XXX from the XX department to the stage. Everyone, let's welcome him." After explaining in a flustered manner, the host limped off the stage with a bitter expression. "Shoo shoo shoo, ao 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 ao," boos rang out from below the stage. Many of the boys wailed and blamed the student council for not putting in enough effort. They had been waiting for Ling Qianyu's performance for a long time. Why did there have to be a problem when it was her turn? The fat boy who performed the vertical flute was also very depressed. As soon as he stepped onto the stage, he heard an overwhelming wave of boos and curses. None of them gave him a good look. He could also see that everyone didn't like watching his program. All their attention was on the campus bell. He was clearly here to take the blame. Although he was very unwilling and unhappy, the fat boy still bit the bullet and went to the front of the stage. He raised his vertical flute and performed with a flute. In the middle, he even broke a few notes because he couldn't catch his breath. However, no one cared about this because the curses had almost completely covered the sound of his vertical flute. "Damn fatty. Hurry up and get off the stage. Who wants to see a man play the vertical flute? At least get a girl up on stage." That's right. He blew so badly and was even out of tune. How dare he go on stage? Hurry up and relearn. Hurry up and get the campus bell Ling Qianyu up here. I'm not even playing League of Legends today just to see her. Wow. You really came to see Ling Qianyu. I knew you didn't have any good intentions. See how I'll deal with you when we get back. Ouch. Save me some face. This is a public place. If there's anything, we can discuss it when we get back. Just as the front stage was in an uproar, Ling Qianyu backstage was also burning with anxiety. Because she had just received a phone call. The girl who performed with her suddenly had her period and went to the school infirmary. She couldn't participate in the performance. The other party told her to find a dance partner at the last minute. Ling Qianyu was very depressed. Where was she going to find a dance partner in such a short period of time? Very few people knew how to do such a professional dance. Even if she did find a dance partner, they definitely wouldn't be able to cooperate well. After all, they had rehearsed together for a few days before they had a little bit of chemistry. Qianyu, isn't the following national ballroom dancing your program? I was waiting to watch it just now. Why was it suddenly postponed? Did something happen? Just as Ling Qianyu's brows were furrowed and she was at her wit's end, Zheng Shiding walked over leisurely and asked with a smile. Zheng Shiding was very happy. Ling Qianyu definitely couldn't find a dance partner at the last minute, so he could only help. At that time, not only would he be able to have intimate contact with Ling Qianyu, he might even be able to further their relationship. Just thinking about it made Zheng Shiding a little excited. It's none of your business. Ling Qianyu didn't want to talk too much, so she casually dismissed him. Oh. If you need anything, remember to call me. I, Michael Zheng, am willing to be of service to Senior Beauty Ling at any time. Zheng Shiding elegantly bowed to Ling Qianyu like a gentleman. No need, I don't need your help. Ling Qianyu felt that Zheng Shiding was a bit like an annoying fly, so she directly rejected him. Zheng Shiding's expression froze. He was very depressed. Ling Qianyu already lost her dance partner, so why wasn't she anxious? He came to help out of goodwill, but she didn't even want to say anything. Seeing that Ling Qianyu had already turned around, Zheng Shiding decided to make it clearer and hinted, Qianyu, do you know? Actually, I'm also very good at national ballroom dancing. I even won an award before. Zheng Shiding didn't lie about this. As a child of a big family, he was forced to learn at least one or two talents from a young age so that he could use them to support his appearance in social events. Chapter 932. Oh. Got it. Ling Qianyu nodded absent-mindedly. She didn't listen to Zheng Shiding's words at all. Her mind was thinking about who she should find to save the day. Then. I will leave first. Remember to call me if you need anything. Seeing that Ling Qianyu didn't respond to his attentiveness, Zheng Shiding felt helpless. He forced a smile and slowly left the backstage. Ling Qianyu frowned. She was only familiar with Cheng Yaoyao in the school. She hurriedly took out her phone and called her. Yaoyao, where are you? Can you come to the auditorium and help me? Ling Qianyu asked anxiously after the phone was connected. I am at the auditorium. Today the ancient martial arts department will perform on the stage. I am helping them prepare. What's wrong? Cheng Menjing was surprised. She didn't know why Ling Qianyu suddenly called her. Ah, you are here. That's great. My dance partner suddenly can't come. So I am looking for you to replace her. Ling Qianyu let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Cheng Menjing was nearby. Otherwise, it would take a long time for her to get here. I don't know how to dance. Moreover, the ancient martial arts department's performance is about to start. I need to do makeup for them. I can't leave. Cheng Menjing was stunned. She could only reject after she realized it. She didn't dare to dance on the stage. The entire performance of the art festival was recorded. Xiaofan told her before that the illusion was useless against electronic cameras. So if she went on the stage, she would be exposed. Ling Qianyu didn't expect Cheng Menjing to reject her. She was anxious. Just when she wanted to persuade her again, she suddenly thought of someone. She quickly asked, oh yeah, does your boyfriend know how to dance? I am really anxious. I can't go on the stage now. Can you ask him? Cheng Menjing was stunned. But she could tell that Ling Qianyu was anxious. So she said, wait for a moment. I will help you ask him. On the other side of the phone, Cheng Menjing communicated with Xiaofan. She told him the situation. Xiao Chen agreed without hesitation. After all, Ling Qianyu was Bureau Chief Ling's granddaughter, so he could still help her with this small favor. Moreover, because he was going to perform on stage, he had already put on makeup in advance. This way, he didn't need to use his yuan qi to disguise himself, so he was naturally not afraid of being exposed in front of the camera. Qianyu, Xiao Yi agreed. We're backstage in room 3, where are you? I'll let him go right away. After getting a positive answer, Cheng Menjing asked. I'm in room 1. Thank you so much. I'll treat you to a meal later. Ling Qianyu was overjoyed. After putting down the phone, she let out a long sigh of relief. Her heart that had been hanging in the air was finally at ease. A few minutes later, Xiao Chen came to room 1 and found Ling Qianyu. He smiled and comforted, Senior Sister Qianyu, I understand everything. Just tell me what you want me to do. Seeing that it was Xiao Yi, Ling Qianyu's expression relaxed a lot. She nodded and said, time is of the essence. Let's go change first. There are dance clothes for male dancers over there. Go and pick a size. Okay. Xiao Chen nodded and went to the changing room. Ling Qianyu also went to another changing room to change. Xiao Chen quickly changed his clothes and stood outside, waiting for Ling Qianyu. After a while, Ling Qianyu opened the door and walked out with a crash. Seeing Ling Qianyu's outfit today, Xiao Chen couldn't help but take a deep breath. Ling Qianyu was wearing an elegant purple evening gown with a large V-neck and a backless dress that hung down to her waist. It made her exquisite figure and fair skin look extremely beautiful. Even Xiao Chen, who was experienced and knowledgeable, was momentarily dumbfounded. Don't just stand there. Do you know ballroom dancing? Ling Qianyu frowned. Looking at Xiao Yi's pig face, she didn't have the mood to scold him. After all, she was counting on him to save the situation. No, I've never learned those. Xiao Chen scratched his head in embarrassment. Ah. Then try to cooperate with me later. Just pretend to be a supporting character. I'll be responsible for the main dance. Ling Qianyu had already expected this. Although she was helpless, there was nothing she could do. Having Xiao Yi dance with her was better than that annoying Zheng Shiding. Oh, there's no need for that. Just go through it first, and I'll learn it after watching it. Or if there's any tutorial video, you can show it to me. I can learn it on the spot, Xiao Chen said casually with a shrug. Xiao Chen wasn't bragging. Although he didn't know how to dance, he was still an awesome cultivator. With this foundation, he could learn anything quickly. As long as he had some reference, he could learn it in minutes. Do you think you have magical powers? You can learn it after learning it once? Plus, it's already so late. Where am I going to find a video for you to watch? Ling Qianyu was amused by Xiao Chen. However, she didn't refuse. Even if she let Xiao Chen be a supporting character, the two of them had to quickly rehearse it. Even if it wasn't quick, it would still shine. Ling Qianyu led Xiao Chen to practice once. Although Xiao Chen was clumsy, stepping on her feet a few times and stumbling a little when he jumped, he could be considered to have learned it well. In the eyes of professionals, Xiao Chen's dance was terrible. However, if it was used to fool those who didn't know anything, it wouldn't be a problem. Moreover, it was obvious that the boys below the stage were here to watch Ling Qianyu. Even if Xiao Chen were to stand there without moving, they wouldn't care. As long as Ling Qianyu danced beautifully, it would be a feast for their eyes. When you get on the stage, just follow my steps. Don't move. Even if you're wrong, just keep calm and follow closely again. Understand? Ling Qianyu said solemnly. Okay, I understand. Xiao Chen nodded. Ling Qianyu took a deep breath and led Xiao Chen to the waiting area. Sorry to keep everyone waiting. Next. This is one of the highlights of this year's art festival. Ling Qianyu and her friends will perform the ballroom dance. Please give your warmest applause to welcome Ling Qianyu on the stage. On the stage, the host held the microphone and announced Ling Qianyu's performance with great emotion. The emotions that the guys in the audience had accumulated for a whole night suddenly exploded. Many people stood in their seats excitedly and shouted Ling Qianyu's name. The atmosphere instantly reached a climax. We're ready to go on the stage. Don't be too nervous. Remember what I said just now. Ling Qianyu heard the tsunami of cheers from the front stage. She subconsciously became nervous and pretended to be calm. However, her intermittent tone revealed that she was actually more nervous than Xiaofan. Chapter 933. Oh, don't worry, I'll do as you say. Xiaofan smiled easily. He could feel sweat on the tip of Ling Qianyu's nose, but he didn't expose her. The two waited for a while, and when they saw the MC waving at them, they slowly walked up to the stage. Ling Qianyu's clothes were more light, her black hair cascading down like a waterfall, and she had light makeup on her face. Although it was just a simple application of powder and lip gloss, she was already very pretty. The simple makeup, coupled with the illumination of the stage lights, made her look even more beautiful, and immediately attracted the excited howls of many boys below the stage. She's really the campus belle, so beautiful. Ling Qianyu is the best. Yeah. If only she was my girlfriend, she's so beautiful. In your dreams. How could Ling Qianyu like you? Go back and masturbate, young man. Stop talking about me. Look at the stage. Who is that kid? Is he the dance partner of the campus belle? How can someone so ugly go up on stage? That's right, this contrast is too big. At least a handsome guy like me can. Aya, don't hit me, I know I'm wrong. When Ling Qianyu and Xiaofan went up on stage, the cheers from the audience didn't stop for a long time. However, as the melodious music started, and the two of them got ready for the dance, the audience shut their mouths and stared at Ling Qianyu's moving dance with widened eyes. However, compared to the fanatical and infatuated gazes of most people, there was a pair of eyes in the crowd that was staring fiercely at Xiaofan. His eyes were filled with anger, and it looked like he couldn't wait to rush up to the stage and strangle Xiaofan to death. What the hell? Why is it this kid again? What the hell is this bastard doing? He really knows how to be a busybody. Zheng Shiding clenched his fists tightly. He was so angry that his hair was about to stand on end, and his heart was filled with anger. However, he also knew that today's performance had nothing to do with him. Zheng Shiding had originally wanted to use the opportunity of changing partners to kiss Ling Qianyu. In the end, after spending a lot of effort, money, and connections, he didn't expect that in the end, he would only end up as a spectator. Watching Ling Qianyu dance gracefully on the stage, Zheng Shiding felt a nameless fire that he couldn't vent. He picked up his phone and called Ling Qianyu's female dance partner, telling her to come to the dormitory immediately to get the money. Then, he gave Xiaofan a few more vicious glances, turned around, and left. Back in the dormitory, Zheng Shiding first took a shower. Just as he put on his clothes, the girl knocked on the door. Zheng Shiding brought her in and closed the door. Without further ado, he took out a stack of money and handed it to her. Thank you, young Master Zheng. Is there anything else? If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. The girl held the money in her hand and asked cautiously. She had long heard of Zheng Shiding's character, so she did not dare to stay alone with him for too long. What's the hurry? Come and chat with me for a while. You have nothing to do when you get back anyway. Zheng Shiding sat on the sofa arrogantly and waved at the girl, gesturing for her to sit next to him. I have an appointment with my roommate. We'll go for supper later. I'd better not waste your precious time, the girl said weakly and moved back with small steps. She could tell that Zheng Shiding was up to no good. She wanted to get away as soon as possible. F***ck, this young master asked you to stay, and you still dare to leave? Zheng Shiding was very displeased. He had already suffered a setback at Ling Qianyu's place tonight. He was just about to find a girl to vent his anger on, but he did not expect the girl in front of him to be so insensible. He simply rushed up, grabbed the girl, and forced her down on the sofa. Ah! The girl was shocked and cried out in surprise. She kept struggling, but she was too weak and could not break free from Zheng Shiding's embrace. In a panic, she begged for mercy. Young Master Zheng, don't do this. I'm still a virgin. My body needs to be reserved for my boyfriend, don't talk nonsense. You took my money and you want to leave so easily? Do you think money is so easy to earn? Today, I'm going to break you. Zheng Shiding pressed the girl's arms with his left hand, and skillfully unzipped his pants with his right hand. Then, he pulled down the girl's pants. Sob, sob, sob. Young Master Zheng, please let me go. The girl was scared out of her wits. She struggled and cried. However, the girl's fierce resistance and tears of pleading aroused Zheng Shiding's desire even more. He panted heavily and was about to mount her when he suddenly smelled a thick smell of blood. He couldn't help but stop and look down in confusion. What the f***ck? What's going on? Seeing the scene in front of him, Zheng Shiding was shocked. The girl's underwear was full of blood. It was a frightening red. Zheng Shiding was a little confused. He had not entered yet, had he? Why was there blood? I'm on my period today, sob, sob, sob. The girl explained while crying. What did you say? Zheng Shiding's eyes widened. His face was full of disbelief as he stared at the girl in a daze. While Zheng Shiding was in a daze, the girl pushed him down on the sofa and broke free from his control. She hurriedly put on her pants, covered her face, and ran out of the dormitory like she was escaping. She slammed the door with a bang. After being stunned for a while, Zheng Shiding came back to his senses. He was so angry that he almost fainted. This girl happened to be on her period? In other words, he had wasted a sum of money on her disguise? Most importantly, not only did he waste the money, he could not even fulfill his wish. This was too much of a scam. Damn it, it's all that Xiao Yi's fault. I couldn't dance with Ling Qianyu, and he even caused such a thing. Zheng Shiding was so angry that he trembled. He fiercely said to himself, "Stupid loser, how dare you steal my woman? I'll find a chance to teach you a lesson someday." Zheng Shiding swung his fist and slammed it on the table next to him. The table immediately fell apart with a loud bang. Inside the auditorium, Xiao Yi and Ling Qianyu were still dancing on the stage. Ling Qianyu was very nervous. She was afraid that this guy would make a fool of himself and get kicked off the stage. So in the beginning, she focused all her attention on Xiao Yi. As a result, she kept making mistakes and almost fell. Luckily, Xiao Yi caught her in time and resolved the crisis. However, as they danced, Ling Qianyu gradually noticed something strange. Not only did Xiao Yi not make mistakes, he danced unexpectedly well. In the end, Xiao Yi took the lead and danced with Ling Qianyu. This made her very shocked. Chapter 934. The more they danced, the more Ling Qianyu felt that even though the person in front of her was average-looking, his dancing skills were really good. Even though they had only rehearsed once, every movement and step of his had the demeanor of an international celebrity. He didn't look like a beginner at ballroom dancing at all. Moreover, his elegant movements and smooth dance steps made Xiao Yi's originally ordinary appearance shine with a layer of brilliance, giving him an indescribably charming temperament. As the audience watched, they gradually calmed down. The boos and curses lessened and were replaced by envious gazes. Even though they didn't understand ballroom dancing, Xiao Yi's graceful dance and Ling Qianyu's beautiful appearance complemented each other. Even those who didn't understand ballroom dancing found it pleasing to the eye. In the end, many girls stared at Xiao Yi as if they were infatuated with him. They even cheered and screamed. After the two of them performed a highly difficult maneuver, the background music suddenly stopped, and Xiao Chen and Ling Qianyu's performance came to an end. The two of them walked to the front of the stage for a curtain call, and the students below the stage all stood up and gave them a warm round of applause, expressing their admiration for them. "I didn't know that you were so good at pretending. You're so good at dancing, but you have to pretend that you don't know." After they got off the stage and returned to room 1, Ling Qianyu glared at Xiao Chen and said unhappily, "I'm not pretending. Didn't I tell you that I'm a fast learner? I only need to watch once or twice to master it." Xiao Chen explained helplessly as he followed Ling Qianyu out of the room. Xiao Chen also understood that Ling Qianyu had doubts in her heart. After all, he had danced so well that she almost became a supporting character. "Only a ghost would believe you. You have a glib tongue and never speak a word of truth. No wonder you were able to trick the two girls into falling head over heels for you and make them follow you willingly." "But I won't fall for it, save it." Ling Qianyu curled her lips and glared at Xiao Chen. She was a little angry in her heart. She hated liars the most. This Xiao Chen was not only a womanizer, but also a two-timer. Now, he was even pretending to deceive her. Ling Qianyu hated him even more. Xiao Chen was speechless. Miss and Ling Qianxue were both willing. He didn't lie to them. Why did Ling Qianyu make it sound like he was a scammer? "Alright, now that the performance is over, don't follow me. Such a dishonest person, I really don't know what Yao Yao likes about you." Ling Qianyu quickened her pace and turned around to look at Xiao Chen with disdain. She muttered, "I hate guys like you who can pretend the most. It's not like I want you to like me. Besides, this path is the only way to room 3. If we don't take this path, how else can we go back? How ridiculous." Xiao Chen heard every single word that Ling Qianyu said. He was a little angry and retorted stiffly. He felt that Ling Qianyu's attitude had changed a little too quickly. Just now, when she needed his help, she begged and begged young miss to help her out of goodwill. In the end, after the performance ended, she turned her back on him. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have helped her. She caused so much trouble for no reason. Ling Qianyu was stunned. She was also confused by Xiao Chen. Before, she was worried that the performance would be messed up. But this guy in front of her was obviously good at dancing, but he didn't tell her in advance. He even said he didn't know how to dance. She was so worried and almost made a fool out of herself. But when she calmed down and thought about it, Ling Qianyu felt that her words were a little harsh. So she softened her tone and said to Xiao Chen, "But thank you. I can see, Yao Yao likes you very much, you don't let her down. As for that Ling Xiaoxue, you can't handle her. She's not an ordinary girl. I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It'll only be good for you. Thank you for your kindness. But if I let her go, do you think I'll come looking for you?" Xiao Chen looked at Ling Qianyu and joked. Xiao Chen knew that Ling Qianyu wasn't a bad person. She was just a little stubborn. He was like this when he was protecting her. Now that he was Xiao Yi, he was still like this. "Humph, if you don't listen, then do whatever you want. I can't be bothered with you. You don't know how to appreciate my kindness." Ling Qianyu rolled her eyes and quickened her steps to get away from Xiao Chen. She walked toward the exit of the backstage. She was going to turn around the corner and go to the auditorium to watch the rest of the performance. Xiao Chen smiled helplessly. He was used to Ling Qianyu's personality, so he didn't mind. He turned around and entered room 3, the gala continued. The popularity of Ling Qianyu's dance hadn't died down yet, so the audience was in high spirits. They were looking forward to the performance of the new campus belle, Su Chuxia. However, the school knew what the audience was thinking, so they purposely arranged Su Chuxia's performance at the end. It was equivalent to the finale, so that the audience could continue to enjoy the performance instead of leaving after watching the two campus bells performances. Su Chuxia's performance was a love song duet with a guy from the faculty who wasn't very outstanding but had a good voice. However, while she was waiting backstage, she received an unexpected piece of news. The guy who sang the duet called and said that his father suddenly fell seriously ill and was rushing to the hospital. He couldn't participate in the performance, so he asked Su Chuxia to find someone else to replace him. Su Chuxia was dumbfounded. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Why did he have to fall sick right before the performance? It would be her turn in a few more performances. Where was she supposed to find someone else in such a short time? Huh? Chuxia, why are you spacing out here alone? Your performance is the finale of the night. Are you ready? Where's the partner who's going to perform with you? A man's voice suddenly sounded, and Su Chuxia turned around to see that it was Shuigao. Although he looked calm, Shuigao was actually very pleased. He waited backstage for the whole night, and finally, Su Chuxia received a call. As expected, after she put down the phone, her expression changed. Actually, this love song duet was arranged by Shuigao, and the boy was also threatened by him, so he voluntarily gave up on the performance and lied to Su Chuxia. Otherwise, who wouldn't want to perform with the new school belle on the same stage as her? He can't make it. Su Chuxia stammered. Suddenly, she turned around and walked backstage. As she walked, she said, "If that's the case, I'll cancel my performance. Since I don't have a partner now, and I can't perform the duet alone, I'll let the production team know." Chapter 935. Su Chuxia suddenly realized that it might be a good thing that her partner couldn't come. She didn't want to perform on stage anyway, so she could take this opportunity to cancel the show. Don't. You can't cancel it. It'll be embarrassing for our faculty if you cancel it. I'm still here, right? Since that kid can't come, let Senior Ice Cream take his place. Shuigao was shocked. He quickly stopped Su Chuxia and recommended himself. If Su Chuxia cancelled the show, wouldn't all his plans go to waste? Huh? Su Chuxia was stunned. She looked at Shuigao in surprise. Did she hear wrong? How could this person be so shameless? Shuigao didn't know what Su Chuxia was thinking. He struck a pose, tossed his hair, and said proudly, "Don't doubt me. You should know that I'm the famous prince of love songs in Lon University. There's no love song that I can't sing. Besides, Senior, you look so much more handsome than that kid, don't you? You and your temperament are a perfect match. When you go on stage, you'll definitely cause a sensation." Su Chuxia looked troubled. Shuigao is so thick-skinned, she thought to herself. He clearly looked like a delicate little man, yet he thought he was very handsome. It was simply disgusting. Go where it's cool, and stay there. My Chuxia has a spare tire partner. You can line up from here to the school gate 3 times. Since when does a skinny heavy smoker like you have a turn? A lovable shout rang out. Tian Wangchuan suddenly appeared and pushed Shuigao, causing him to stagger. Her face was full of ridicule. You. Shuigao pointed at Tian Wangchuan angrily. He wanted to curse, but he was worried about his image. He took a few deep breaths and pretended to be calm as he sat on a chair. He was pissed. Why does this brat always mess things up? Even though he was scolded, Shuigao didn't say anything. He wanted to see who else dared to be her partner other than him. If you can't find him, you'll still have to beg me. Shuigao had secretly investigated Su Chuxia a long time ago. Su Chuxia didn't have any spare tires in school. She didn't even have many friends. However, he wasn't stupid enough to say it out loud and arouse Su Chuxia's suspicion. Wangchuan, stop messing around. If it doesn't work, I'll go up and sing by myself. Su Chuxia glared at Tian Suruan. Tian Suruan was her best partner, but he didn't dare to go on stage. Don't be anxious. Let Sour Sister think about it. Tian Soran held her chin and narrowed her eyes in thought. Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She clapped her hands and said with a smile, "That's right. Aren't we on good terms with that guy? Why don't we find him? He's better than that heavy smoker, isn't he? Counterattack man? Who is it?" Su Chuxia was confused. She blinked her eyes in confusion. She couldn't remember when she had met this person. It's Cheng Yaoyao's boyfriend. The guy who counterattacked Ling Xiaoxue. He's called Xiao. Xiao something? Tian Sour scratched her head. She couldn't think of Xiao Yi's name for a long time. Instead, she thought of Xiao Chang. She wondered how Sister Sour's boyfriend was doing. Are you talking about Xiao Yi? Could he do it? I don't think he can sing. Su Chuxia hesitated. What if Xiao Yi was tone deaf? Then wouldn't it be embarrassing for her to sing with him on stage? This guy must have some skills to be able to counterattack Ling Xiaoxue successfully. Don't worry, Sour Sister will take care of it for you. Leave it to me. Tian Sour patted his chest heroically, then picked up his phone to make a call and briefly explained the situation to Xiao Chen. When Xiao Chen heard this, he knew he couldn't refuse. He had already promised Ling Qianyu, so there was no reason to refuse Su Chuxia. So, he agreed without hesitation. However, Su Chuxia's love song duet was the finale of the gala. He had to finish the martial arts club's performance first. Chuxia, look, Sister Sour only said a few words and she easily took care of that man. He'll be here soon. Tian Sour put away his phone proudly. Soran, aren't you being too rash? Did you ask Xiao Yi if he can sing? Don't embarrass yourself. Su Chuxia was worried. Don't worry. Tian Sour pointed at Shuigao and comforted him, think about it. Even that heavy smoker can sing, so I'm sure counterattack guy can't be any worse. Besides, when the time comes, those loser boys will be head over heels for you. Who will care if he can sing well or not? Trust Sour Sister. This is a world that only cares about appearances. Shuigao, who was sitting at the side, was furious. He didn't expect that there would be someone who dared to steal his business. What's more, Tian Wangchuan had conveniently ridiculed him. Even though he was lying down, he still got shot. Shuigao secretly remembered Xiao Yi's name in his heart. Then, he pretended to be relaxed as he stood up. He walked a bit further away and secretly called his attendant. He planned to investigate Xiao Yi's background before the show started. Young Master Shui, is there anything you need me to do? Shuigao's follower, Ma Xiaochang, quickly ran backstage and asked respectfully. Go investigate someone, his name is Xiao Yi. Find out who he is. Damn it, he actually dared to snatch this young master's woman. I think he must be tired of living. Shuigao ordered expressionlessly. Xiao Yi. Ma Xiaochang repeated Xiao Yi's name a few times. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. I remember. That Xiao Yi is the guy who danced with Ling Qianyu earlier. I was wondering why his name sounded so familiar. Damn it, he's really asking for a beating. Since he dared to snatch my girl, he better not be afraid of the consequences. Shuigao was even more furious. Such a good flower had been taken by a dog. He had already taken advantage of Ling Qianyu, and he still dared to have designs on Su Chuxia. Did he really think he was an A-list celebrity? Shuigao had already forgotten that it was Tian Soran who had taken the initiative to look for Xiao Chen. At this time, his heart was burning with anger. He laughed coldly and said, Xiao Chang, I want to cripple that Xiao Yi. Go gather people immediately. Oh, no problem. When do we do it? Ma Xiaochang nodded. It wasn't the first time young Master Shui wanted to cripple someone. He was already used to it. Now. Immediately. It's best if we can beat him until he can't even take care of himself. I want to see who else dares to snatch Su Chuxia from me. Shui Gao said fiercely. Do it here? Ma Xiaochang was taken aback, and hesitated. Young Master Shui, we aren't prepared yet. Furthermore, it's not good to beat someone up in the school grounds, right? If the school finds out, I'm afraid we won't be able to bear the consequences. Chapter 936. Ma Xiaochang's worry was not without reason. After all, the people who hung out with him were all students. If a fight broke out in an art festival, even Shui Gao would not be able to escape from the school's investigation. Don't you know any people from the streets outside of school? At most, I'll just spend some money. As long as I can settle Xiao Yi, I don't care how much it costs. Shui Gao frowned and asked. This. Ma Xiaochang pondered for a while, then slapped his thigh and said, right. Brother Wei seems to know a lot of hoodlums outside of school. A few days ago, I was drinking with his underlings, and they mentioned it. Brother Wei? Shui Gao was stunned, and a name appeared in his mind. He said disdainfully, you're talking about Du Rongwei, right? TSK, seems like he's doing well, even becoming a big brother. Yes, that's him. I heard that he recently became the disciple of a karate master, a person from the streets. And he's really awesome, he even trampled on the president and vice president of some martial arts club. Ma Xiaochang nodded. Oh, all right. Then find him for help. After it's done, I won't mistreat him. Shui Gao and Du Rongwei did not have any grudges, so he readily agreed. Since he could find someone from outside of school to make a move, it couldn't be better. Even if he was found out, it didn't matter as long as he didn't implicate himself. All right, I'll contact him now. Ma Xiaochang took out his phone and dialed Du Rongwei's number. In the auditorium, the red-haired guy and the young ninja had also come today. They ate, drank, and played outside every day, and after a while, they started to feel bored. Since the Jia family's two spendthrifts were constantly giving them money, the red-haired guy and the rest were instructed to keep a low profile, so they usually had nothing to do, and only needed to spend money and have fun. This time, when they heard that there was an art festival in Lan City University, they followed Du Rongwei to see if there were any beauties performing, so they could enjoy it. At the same time, the red-haired guy and the young ninja were hoping to hook up with a few innocent female students. Recently, they were a little tired of playing with young models, so they wanted to change their tastes. Du Rongwei, let me ask you. The beauty who performed the ballroom dance on stage was called Ling Yu or something. Do you have any contact with her? Help me get one, I want to treat her to a meal, and then, hee. Red Hair said to Du Rongwei with an evil smile. I don't have that. But I heard that Ling Qianyu has a powerful background. Her grandfather seems to be the person in charge of some mysterious department. I think it might be a little difficult to ask her out for a meal. Du Rongwei's expression was a little hesitant as he stammered. Back then, he also had thoughts about the campus belle, Ling Qianyu, but after investigating her background, he tactfully backed off. I told you to investigate, so just do it. How could he be so stupid? No matter how powerful the people of the secular world were, could they be more powerful than the masters of the martial arts world? We now have the support of those two experts. Even if that chick's grandfather is from some mysterious department, we'll still make him obedient. Red Hair glared at Du Rongwei and lectured him in exasperation. Oh right. How could I forget about those two experts? Okay, I'll investigate now. Du Rongwei's eyes lit up as he nodded. He took out his phone and was about to call his underling, but before he could press the button, his phone suddenly rang. Looking at the number displayed on the screen, Du Rongwei was a little confused. Ma Xiaochang? This guy usually hangs out with his underling, why is he looking for me? However, Du Rongwei still pressed the button to accept the call. Hello, Ma Xiao Chang, what's the matter? Brother Wei, it's like this. Our young master Shui wants to ask you for a favor, to let someone suffer a little. Where are you now? If it's convenient, we'll go over and talk to you. Ma Xiao Chang asked. The background was a little noisy. Oh, I'm watching a performance in the auditorium, you guys come over and look for me. I'm in section B, row 6. Du Rongwei agreed, but he was a little puzzled. Shui Gao had some ability in school, and they usually minded their own business. Why did he suddenly want to ask for help? Since he couldn't think of a reason, Du Rongwei was too lazy to think about it. After hanging up the phone, he sent a message to his underling, asking him to check which dormitory Ling Qianyu was staying at and what her phone number was. Not long after, Ma Xiao Chang led Shui Gao from the backstage to the auditorium. Due to the strong lights on the stage, it caused the audience to look dark. The two of them searched for a long time, bumping into and stepping on countless people in the audience, causing a lot of complaints. Finally, they arrived in front of Du Rongwei and the rest. Yo, Rongwei, I heard that you've been doing well recently. You've even become the leader of the student market. Looks like I'll need your help in the future. Ma Xiao Chang first went forward to greet them, and when Du Rongwei and the rest looked over, Ma Xiao Chang walked over with a smile, and greeted them. Although Shui Gao had always been disdainful of Du Rongwei, who only knew how to fight and kill, since he had a favor to ask, he still had to be polite. This little bit of face was a piece of cake for him. Young Master Shui overpraises me, I just found a good boss. Du Rongwei chuckled, satisfied with Shui Gao's flattery. He then pointed to Red Hair beside him and said, This is my boss, Brother Red Hair. I'm working with him now. If you have anything to ask, just say it. As long as the price is reasonable, everything can be discussed. Red Hair nodded slightly at Shui Gao as a form of greeting. Seeing Red Hair's cold and arrogant expression, Shui Gao did not mind and explained simply, It's like this, I just want to ask for your help to teach someone a lesson. His name is Xiao Yi. Turning around, Shui Gao pointed to Xiao Chen, who was moving bricks onto the stage. He gritted his teeth and said, Look, it's that brat. As long as you can beat him until he's crippled, no matter how much money, I'll pay. Du Rongwei followed Shui Gao's finger and looked towards the stage. In the end, he saw Xiao Chen and Wang Zhengtian busy on the stage. It turned out that the previous performance had already ended, and the two of them were preparing the props for the next performance. Seeing Wang Zhengtian, Du Rongwei was shocked. He did not expect that the person Shui Gao wanted to deal with was actually from the martial arts club. He immediately panicked. Although this guy called Xiao Yi by Shui Gao looked like a weakling, he had the backing of the martial arts club. If he taught him a lesson, wouldn't it be the same as offending the martial arts club? Thinking up to this point, Du Rongwei looked at Red Hair anxiously, wanting to see if he had any instructions. Chapter 937. Red Hair also saw the martial arts club logo on the stage, and his face changed slightly. He pinched his chin and thought for a while. Suddenly, he revealed a sneaky smile and said, Sure, isn't it just beating that kid up? No problem, leave it to me. But this. As he spoke, Red Hair twirled his fingers, obviously asking Shui Gao how much he was willing to pay. Ha ha ha. No problem. Money isn't a problem. As long as you can cripple that kid, all of this is yours. Shui Gao laughed, took out a thick stack of cash, and waved it in front of Red Hair. Shui Gao flirted with girls all year round. To him, using money to make a girl happy was as easy as eating and drinking. Therefore, he always had enough cash on him, and now was the time to use it. That's good, we'll help you settle it. We'll definitely beat him up until even his mother can't recognize him. Red Hair saw the thick stack of cash in Shui Gao's hand, and his eyes lit up. He immediately became spirited and agreed without thinking. Okay, then let's do it now. Don't worry, other than this, I'll also thank you after this is done. Shuigao saw that everything was settled and said eagerly. Gah! Do it now? Red Hair was stunned. He looked at Shuigao as if he was an alien and said, "This is an art festival. How can I do it in front of everyone? Do you want me to be kicked out by the security guards? Of course, I'll wait until after the gala is over and then find a chance to beat him up. Aren't you talking nonsense? If it wasn't for the fact that I want to do it now, would I spend so much money to find you? If I wait until after the gala is over, I can beat him up in minutes." Shuigao rolled his eyes and said impatiently. He thought that Red Hair would be able to settle this matter immediately, but he turned out to be a coward. Okay, let me think about it first. Give me some time and wait for my news. Red Hair frowned and said awkwardly. Don't look at how arrogant he was normally. That was only under normal circumstances. Now that there were so many students and teachers present, he couldn't possibly rush up to the stage, grab Xiao Yi, and beat him up in front of everyone, right? If he accidentally angered the crowd, not to mention the security guards dragging him out, everyone present would probably give him a punch and beat him to death. At that time, even if he had money, he wouldn't be able to spend it. All right. Time waits for no man. Shuigao had no other choice. Although he was quite anxious, he could only wait for the red-haired man to make his move. Seeing that Redhead was deep in thought, Shuigao brought Ma Xiaochang and took a few steps away, standing at a place with a good view. If they raised their heads, they would be able to see the stage, and if they turned their heads, they would be able to see Redhead and Du Rongwei. Furthermore, from the way they were standing, no one would be able to tell that they were a group. This way, if they really got into a fight, it would have nothing to do with him. Big brother Red Hair, that kid is a member of the martial arts club. If you provoke them. Du Rongwei hurriedly moved closer to Red Fur's side when he saw that Shuigao had walked far away, and he asked in a low voice. However, he hadn't finished speaking when he was interrupted by Red Fur. Idiot! Red Hair scolded Du Rongwei. His eyes flashed with a treacherous light as he said, "Did you forget what I just said? We have a backer now. Those two are super experts in the martial arts world. When the time comes, no matter who from the martial arts club dares to cause trouble for us, we will go and tell those two that we almost found that girl, but in the end, it was ruined by the martial arts club. What do you think will happen to them?" Wahaha, big brother, you are so quick-witted. Then we won't have to worry about the martial arts club waiting for an opportunity to take revenge. Du Rongwei came to a sudden realization. He gave a thumbs up and smiled slyly as he flattered Red Hair. That's right. Just as Red Hair said complacently, his face fell again, and he said impatiently, "Don't be like a duck. Hurry up and think of a way to kill this kid so that we can get the money from Master Shui. This isn't easy either. With so many people watching, if we fight, we definitely won't be able to gain any advantage." Du Rongwei muttered with a face full of distress. Deng 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 deng. At this time, a burst of exciting music suddenly sounded from the speakers around the auditorium. It turned out that Xiao Chen and the others on the stage were all set up, so the program was ready to officially begin. Looking at the scattered bricks, boulders, and hammers on the stage, the audience was a little puzzled. What are they going to do? They saw that the host who fell earlier had already changed into a tuxedo. He walked up to the stage with a beaming face, cleared his throat, and said, "The next program will be presented by the students from the Ancient Martial Arts Department. At the same time, they are also members of the school's martial arts club." Hearing that it was a program from the Ancient Martial Arts Department, the audience below the stage was listless, and the applause was sparse. Everyone was whispering to each other, and none of them had any interest in the following performance. After all, most people came to the evening party with a clear purpose, which was to see the performance of the two campus belles. Who would want to see a few men on the stage putting on some fancy moves and sweating profusely? The host deliberately paused for a moment. When there was obviously an awkward silence, he raised his voice and reported the second half of the program. These students will perform barehanded splitting of bricks, crushing of boulders with their chests, as well as golden bell shield and iron shirt. Students, please prepare your mobile phones and cameras to witness this incredible scene. Ow ow ow. The people who originally planned to be absent-minded and go to the toilet were stunned for a moment. Then they immediately reacted and shouted excitedly. The atmosphere of the scene was stirred up in an instant. In previous art festivals, the sophomores and juniors had also seen the performances of the ancient martial arts department, but they were all performing a few sets of boxing techniques on the stage. It looked like they were doing broadcast gymnastics, and they were accompanied by some songs such as The Legend of the Condor Heroes and Huang Feihong. Although it looked like it was full of vigor and was quite awesome, it was boring after watching too much. After all, they didn't understand the intricacies behind it. And these street moves that were performed this time might be nothing in the eyes of some martial artists, but these university students who only knew how to bury their heads in their studies had rarely seen it, so they immediately went crazy. The first to go on stage were Wang Zhengtian and Xiao Chen. The other members of the ancient martial arts department stood on the side and waited. Because Xing Chik, Ling Qinxue, and Cheng Menjing weren't arranged to perform on stage, the three of them hid behind the stage and waited. Occasionally, they could help carry a few bricks or something. Xiao Chen saw that everyone's attention was almost attracted, so he picked up 3 green bricks from the stage and showed them in front of everyone. He even called a few students sitting in the front row to go on stage and let them verify that they were using real bricks and not fake foam boards. Chapter 938. Xiao Chen only placed the brick in front of Wang Zhengtian after the warm-up had ended. He then helped him hold the brick by the side. Ha! Wang Zhengtian didn't waste any words and cupped his hands towards the audience. He then roared, sounding very imposing. Then, with a schwa sound, he slammed his palm against the bricks. With a kacha sound, the 3 bricks were split apart and fell to the ground. Good, well done. Good job. That's awesome. Wow. This guy is really strong, and he's also quite handsome. I wonder if he has a girlfriend or not. TSK, why would he like you? I'm sure he likes girls like me. Wang Zhengtian was a little handsome, and he always had a cool look. Therefore, he could attract the attention of girls. Therefore, when the boys in the audience kept clapping and cheering, many girls were staring at Wang Zhengtian with stars in their eyes. They all looked like they were infatuated with him. Thank you for your applause. Do you want to see Vice President Wang of our Wushu Club add bricks? Dong Zhiqi picked up the microphone and said loudly. Today, he brought the members of the Wushu Club to help. He wanted to promote the club and make it famous. Yes. Very much. The students below the stage shouted one after another. They were all very excited. How many bricks do you want? Dong Zhiqi asked. 5 bricks. 5 bricks. The students shouted excitedly. Good. No problem. Everyone, watch carefully. Dong Zhiqi put the microphone back. Then, he moved 5 bricks in front of Wang Zhengtian and asked Xiao Chen to hold them. Ha! Wang Zhengtian swept his gaze around, and then without saying a word, he roared angrily and smashed all the bricks into pieces. In order to increase the effect of the program, he purposely made himself look like he was sweating and the veins on his face were bulging. Wow! Add 10 bricks. Add 10 bricks. Seeing Wang Zhengtian putting in so much effort, the students below the stage went into a frenzy. Everyone was cheering, and the popularity of the live audience was no less than Ling Qinyu's performance. The host, who was the closest to them, also felt his blood boiling as he watched. He applauded again and again, holding the microphone and saying passionately, I can see that the students of the martial arts club are really talented. This kind of ability, who could do it? Let me ask all the students here, which one of you can do this? I can. Shuigao suddenly pinched his throat and inexplicably appeared behind Redhead and shouted. The surrounding students all quieted down and looked in the direction of Shuigao and Redhead, but Shuigao had already hidden behind them. Du Rongwei and Red Hair were stunned, and the three of them quickly slipped away with the young ninja. Red Hair frowned and whispered, "What are you doing? Why do you want to stand out? Are you guys stupid?" "Of course I have an ulterior motive." Shuigao looked in front of him and explained in a low voice, "Those idiots from the martial arts club, didn't they want to challenge someone? You guys can use this as an excuse to cause trouble and teach that kid a lesson. Isn't that killing two birds with one stone?" It turned out that Shuigao was afraid that he wouldn't be able to find a chance to teach Xiao Chen a lesson. If Redhead still couldn't think of a way, how could he teach Xiao Chen a lesson when Su Chuxia's performance was over? Coincidentally, the host was talking big in the heat of the moment. Shuigao suddenly had an idea, and he suddenly thought of a way to let Redhead and the others go on stage openly. He took the opportunity and shouted it out. Moreover, since there were people below the stage who accepted the challenge, if the martial arts club didn't dare to let them go on stage, it would damage their reputation. Therefore, even if the host didn't want the audience to go on stage, they couldn't agree to it. This. As expected, the host was dumbfounded by Shuigao's roar. He just wanted to liven up the atmosphere, who knew that someone would really answer. Helplessly, he turned to look at Dong Zhiqi and Wang Jingtian, wanting to seek their opinion. Before Dong Zhiqi could react, Wang Jingtian smiled faintly, took the microphone, and said with a relaxed expression, "Sure. Since there are students who are willing to go on stage to learn from each other, I can accept it. However, the duration of the performance might be extended. I'm not sure if the audience has any objections." "No objections. The longer the performance, the better." The audience below the stage shouted in unison, and there were many girls' voices mixed in. This performance was so good, who would have any objections? Everyone was eagerly looking forward to performing more so that they could broaden their horizons. The girls even hoped that Wang Jingtian could stay on stage for a longer period of time. Since both sides have no objections, then let's invite the student who fought bravely just now to come on stage and compete with the students from the martial arts club. The host was also very excited. He shouted and pointed in the direction of Shuigao and the others. Instantly, a spotlight shone towards where they were standing. "Hurry up and go. No matter what happens on stage, I will bear the consequences. Once it's done, the remuneration will naturally not be lacking." Shuigao seized the time and whispered to the red-haired guy. In any case, when the audience went on stage to participate in the performance, they were basically uncontrollable. It was inevitable that some accidents would happen, and the school couldn't do anything about it. Even if they wanted to investigate later, they wouldn't be able to trace it back to him. Since Shuigao said so, the red-haired guy and the young ninja were no longer worried. The two of them strode towards the direction of the stage. Seeing the two people on stage, Wang Jingtian couldn't help but narrow his eyes. Why is it these people again? It seems like they came with ill intentions this time. However, Wang Jingtian wasn't afraid. Although he wasn't as strong as the young ninja, splitting bricks was his forte. Therefore, no matter who challenged this program, he was very confident. Seeing the red-haired man and the young ninja walk to the front of the stage, the host was also stunned. The appearance and attire of these two people were a bit strange. One of them had dyed his hair red and looked like a street thug. The other one was wearing a ninja attire and looked a bit old-fashioned. He didn't look like a university student. Excuse me, are you students from Lon University? Why is your hair dyed and your dressing seems to be a bit special? Also, this person's appearance seems to be. There were whispers and discussions below the stage. The host couldn't hold back his curiosity and asked. Although Lon University didn't explicitly prohibit students from dyeing their hair and had a uniform dress code, the students were usually quite self-aware. Even if someone wanted to dye their hair, they would only dye a few strands of hair. They definitely wouldn't dye all of their hair red and make it so shocking. Chapter 939. Oh, we're both from the arts department. I'm from the beauty and hairdressing department, so I used my own hair as an experiment. He's from the fashion design department, but he looks a little too young. He's actually younger than me. The red-haired guy spouted nonsense with a straight face. He had already thought of these words before he went on stage, so he wasn't stumped by the questions. The host was a little puzzled. Does our school have a beauty and hairdressing department? Are these two sure they're not from some excavator school? However, the party had limited time, so the host naturally wouldn't pursue this matter. He nodded and asked, "So that's how it is. Then, these two students, what do you want to compete in?" "Of course we want to compete in splitting bricks. Are there any other choices?" The red-haired guy glared at the host. Why is this guy spouting nonsense? The host smiled embarrassedly. He was a little confused just now, so he quickly said, "Okay. Then how many bricks do you want to challenge?" "Let's compete with 15. Everyone just shouted 10. "Since we're going on stage to challenge, we should at least add more," the red-haired guy said lightly. The red-haired guy knew the young ninja's strength. Let alone 15 bricks, even if it was 30, he could easily split them. Wow! Isn't this challenger a little too awesome? I didn't come for nothing today. Yeah, I've been in Lon University for 4 years, but I've never seen such an exciting show. Martial Arts Club members, hurry up and accept it. I can't wait. 15 bricks. Even a street performer couldn't do this. These two challengers were either boasting, or they really had the strength to do it. The audience below the stage was boiling. The Martial Arts Club's performance was simply the best show of the night apart from Ling Qianyu's ballroom dance. The girls sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Wang Zhengtian worriedly with their hands on their chests. Those two wretched guys challenged their male idol right off the bat. They didn't know if their male idol would accept the challenge. Okay. Since the challengers have announced the challenge, can the Martial Arts Club accept it? When the host heard the number of bricks had increased to 15, his voice trembled a little. He quickly turned his head and asked Wang Zhengtian excitedly. Wang Zhengtian pondered for a moment, then nodded and agreed. No problem, 15 it is. Since both parties had confirmed the quantity and were ready, Xiaofan turned around and carried 30 bricks from the side of the stage. He took out 15 bricks and placed them in front of Wang Zhengtian. Then, he stood at the side and helped him hold the bricks to stabilize their balance. Ha! Wang Zhengtian got into a horse stance, took a deep breath, and used all the strength in his body to fiercely slap down. Ka 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 sounds could be heard, and all the bricks instantly cracked open. The first 14 bricks were split in half and scattered on the ground, but the last brick was not split in half. It only cracked in the middle, but it still completed the challenge. Ao ao ao. The audience, who had been holding their breaths with rapt attention, suddenly screamed, clapped and cheered incessantly. After letting out a sigh of relief, Wang Zhengtian wiped the sweat off his forehead. He gestured to the red-haired man and the young ninja and said coldly, "I'm done. Now it's your turn." "Wait. We need to discuss the tactics." The red-haired man saw the young ninja winking at him, so he waved his hand and gestured to pause. Then, he pulled the young ninja to the side and whispered to each other. Wang Zhengtian and Dong Zhiqi were stunned. They looked at each other and were a little puzzled. Isn't it just splitting bricks? What tactics is there to discuss? Do they want to take the opportunity to slip away? But they stopped and whispered to each other when they walked to the side, and it didn't look like they were going to run away. The audience was a little surprised. These two non-mainstream people volunteered to challenge the Wushu Club. Now that the Wushu Club had accepted the challenge, why did they become timid? The audience who didn't know the truth immediately booed. At this time, the young ninja didn't care about the booing from the audience. He pulled the red-haired man and whispered, "I really didn't know that this guy is really capable. I thought he couldn't handle it." The young ninja looked at Wang Jingtian. He thought that with this guy's cultivation, he shouldn't be able to split 15 bricks. This was enough to make the Wushu club lose face. He didn't expect him to actually succeed. Who cares? We don't need to rely on the karate dojo to make money. There is no conflict with the Wushu club. Now, we just need to find a way to cripple that guy called Xiao Yi, and the mission will be considered completed. The red-haired man whispered. "Oh, so it's like this. I understand. But what I'm going to perform is splitting bricks. How can it be related to Xiao Yi? Should I just say that it's wrong and directly slap his head? Isn't this too fake?" The young ninja couldn't help but ask. It wasn't a problem for him to use his strength, but when it came to using his brain, he was at his wit's end. "You're really stupid. If I wasn't weaker than you, I wouldn't be your boss." The red-haired man scolded angrily. Seeing that the young ninja was still confused, he pointed out with a face of disdain, "Can't you control your strength when you split? Let the brick fly up and hit Xiao Yi's head with a bang. This way, we can say that it was an accident. It has nothing to do with us. At worst, we can just pay some medical fees. Anyway, that idiot will pay for it. What are you afraid of?" "That's right. This is a good idea. Smart. Really smart." The young ninja suddenly realized and couldn't help but give a thumbs up in admiration. The two of them weren't afraid of being heard by the people from the Wushu club. The whole stage was very empty. They were originally standing on the side and deliberately lowered their voices. If they didn't use a microphone, they wouldn't be able to hear anything from a distance. But they didn't know that Xiao Chen was a real cultivator. Even if he didn't release his divine sense, he could clearly hear their conversation. Xiao Chen sneered in his heart. "I was wondering why these two non-mainstream idiots suddenly appeared on the stage to challenge me. It turned out that they were here for me. But what enmity do these two have with me? Is there something wrong with them?" Xiao Chen couldn't help but be puzzled. With his current identity as Xiao Yi, it could be said that he had no contact with these two people. The last time they came to challenge the Wushu club, he wasn't there. He didn't have a direct confrontation with them, so they shouldn't know him at all. If it was with Xiao Chen's identity, then even if the red-haired man was beaten to death, he wouldn't dare to provoke him. Otherwise, even if he wanted to die, he wouldn't be able to. If it was with his identity as the Wushu club challenger, then needless to say, the red-haired man would definitely be scared to the point of peeing his pants and running away. How could he take the initiative to look for trouble? This was really strange. Chapter 940. Xing and Ling Qianxue, who were standing behind the curtain, looked at each other in confusion when they saw the red-haired guy bringing the young ninja onto the stage. Why did they meet these two again? What were they doing here? When Cheng Menjing saw the red-haired guy, she subconsciously hid. After hiding, she remembered that she wasn't wearing a disguise. Even if the other party saw her, he wouldn't be able to recognize her. Only then did she relax. "I say, you two have been muttering for a long time. Do you not want to compete anymore? If you don't compete, then it means you admit defeat?" Xiao Chen smiled coldly. He didn't want to give them any more time to think about how to deal with him and directly asked. Since he already knew their goal and plan, he naturally wouldn't let them succeed so easily. Xiao Chen thought quickly and already thought of a countermeasure. "What kind of joke is this? We just wanted to warm up. Now that we're done warming up, we can start. Move the bricks over." The young ninja was confident. He waved his arms and did a few chest expansion movements. Then, he swaggered over. The red-haired guy also walked to the front of the stage and waited to the side, ready to watch a good show. Oh, then wait a moment. Dong Zhiqi was the closest to the remaining bricks. Just as he was about to obediently move the bricks, he was stopped by Xiaofan. "I'll do it, I'll do it. This was originally my job, don't steal it from me." Xiaofan rushed to move the 15 bricks on the ground and placed them in front of the young ninja. After placing them, Xiaofan prepared to retreat to the side. The young ninja was stunned. If this guy retreated far away, how would he be able to hit them? He hurriedly looked at the red-haired guy as if asking for help. The red-haired guy understood and immediately jumped up. "Hey hey hey! You bastard, you're not allowed to leave. Go over and help him hold the bricks. What if it falls? Really, you don't have any eyesight at all. How come you don't know how to unite and be friendly?" The red-haired guy righteously stared at Xiaofan and scolded. "Oh. Okay." Xiaofan shrugged and didn't refuse. He walked back slowly, squatted down, and put his hand on the brick. The audience waited for a long time without knowing the truth. Finally, when they saw that the young ninja was ready to start the challenge, they immediately shouted and cheered for him. However, there were also a few girls who were secretly cursing him for failing the challenge. "Don't steal the limelight from your idol. Drink." Seeing that the time had come, the young ninja shouted without hesitation. Then, he circulated his mental cultivation method and struck the brick with his palm. Crack! Those bricks were smashed into pieces in the blink of an eye. However, the following scene made everyone's jaws drop. Bang! Bang! Only two muffled sounds could be heard. The broken bricks and tiles didn't smash into Xiaofan's head as the young ninja expected. Instead, two of the broken bricks suddenly flew up. One of them smashed into the young ninja's head, while the other flew in a strange arc and heavily smashed into the red-haired ninja's thigh. Ah! Caught off guard, the young ninja couldn't block it at all. With a scream, his head was directly split open by the broken brick. Blood spurted out like a fountain, and the hair in front of his forehead was dyed blood red. Ouch! On the other side, the red-haired ninja howled. He clutched his crotch in pain and knelt on the ground. He couldn't understand why the broken bricks would hit him. He was clearly very far away. Xiaofan stood up and glanced at the red-haired ninja who was kneeling on the ground. He was a little puzzled. The young ninja's injury was within his expectations, but the red-haired ninja was inexplicably injured. It was a little strange. Why did the broken bricks fly so far? However, when Xiaofan turned his gaze and saw Cheng Menjing hiding behind the curtain, she was covering her mouth and laughing secretly. He immediately understood what was going on. Only Cheng Menjing could control the bricks remotely like him. It seemed like she was the one who hit the red-haired ninja. No wonder the arc looked so strange. Aya, why did you dye your hair? Do you want to be a red-haired ninja too? Or do you want to study beauty and hairdressing? Are you stupid? Can't you just sign up for an elective class? In order to not let Cheng Menjing be noticed, Xiaofan immediately looked at the young ninja with a surprised expression and grabbed the host's microphone. Ha ha ha. These two people are so funny. They obviously have such poor skills, but they still dare to challenge them. They are simply overestimating themselves. That red-haired ninja is so pitiful. He really got shot while lying down. He was standing so far away, but he still got hurt accidentally. I'm dying of laughter. I don't know if it will affect some of his functions in the future. Ha ha ha. When the audience heard Xiaofan's ridicule, they suddenly burst into laughter. Everyone was pointing at them, and the girls were overjoyed. They all agreed that the curse was effective. The other members of the martial arts club on the stage looked at each other. They didn't understand what happened at all. The situation looked like an accident, but there was a hint of strangeness in it. However, they were too lazy to ask. Anyway, these two people didn't get along with them. They could only say one sentence: God will punish those who are despicable. The host couldn't sit back and do nothing. He quickly went up to the young ninja and asked him if he was okay and if he needed to go to the infirmary. The young ninja covered his head and grimaced for a while. He finally recovered. He was also a martial artist, so this injury was nothing. Although he was a little depressed, he still waved his hand and said, "It's okay. It's just a small matter. This time it's a draw. I've smashed all the bricks. I'm fine." The red-haired ninja stood up with difficulty in a twisted posture. He took a deep breath and then glared at the young ninja. He was really speechless at the young ninja. What kind of technique is this? Not to mention that Xiao Yi didn't hit him, he even broke his head and accidentally injured me, who was standing far away. He even attracted the laughter of the audience. It was really embarrassing. "Oh, then do you still want to compete?" Xiao Chen could not be bothered to be nice to them, so he asked coldly. Looking at the unconvinced looks on the faces of these two fellows, with their eyes rolling around, he guessed that they were up to no good again. We'll take a break first. You guys continue your performance." The red-haired ninja could see that this move obviously couldn't win. He could only wait for the opportunity to make a move. However, he didn't want to leave the stage with his tail between his legs, so he simply stayed on the stage and said so. "Oh, we have a more exciting segment later. If you want to challenge, you can continue. We welcome you at any time." Xiao Chen said indifferently and ignored them. He turned around and went to prepare the props with the members of the martial arts club. Chapter 941. Next, the students from the ancient martial arts department will show everyone how to break rocks on their chests. Everyone, please don't be stingy with your applause and give them your warmest encouragement. The host saw that the situation was a little awkward, so he quickly took the microphone and began to loudly stir up the emotions of the audience. "Ow ow ow." Xiao Chen and the others didn't use the microphone to talk, so the audience could only see their mouths moving, but couldn't hear what they were saying. Just when they were anxious and thought that something had happened to the program, they suddenly heard the host's announcement again. Everyone suddenly felt as if they were injected with chicken blood. They shouted loudly and applauded enthusiastically, once again pushing the program to its climax. Breaking rocks on their chests. It was even more exciting than breaking bricks, so it would definitely be better to watch. Xiao Chen and Dong Zhiqi moved a table out and placed it in the middle of the stage. Then, Jia Muzhen walked to the front of the stage, cupped his hands at the audience, and tore off his clothes, revealing his strong 8-pack abs and perfect mermaid lines. It immediately attracted the screams of many girls in the audience. "Wow! This guy with glasses looks like a loser, but his body is really good. Look at these abs. These mermaid lines. Wow, there's even a groin. I can't take it anymore, I'm going to have a nosebleed. Glasses bro, I want to give birth to your child." The host naturally wouldn't let go of this great opportunity to stir up the atmosphere. He immediately took the microphone and asked Jia Muzhen, "Classmate, did you hear the cheers of the girls in the audience? Everyone likes you very much. Do you have anything to say to them?" Thank you for everyone's encouragement." Listening to all kinds of shouts from the love-struck girls in the audience, Jia Muzhen awkwardly pushed up his glasses, casually replied, and without saying anything else, he laid flat on the table. He had never encountered this kind of situation before, so he didn't know what to say for a moment. However, this simple sentence made the girls in the audience scream and infatuated for a long time. At this time, the giant rock had been lifted up. The host once again stirred up the emotions at the right time. He pointed at Xiao Chen and the others who were carrying the rock and shouted, "Everyone, this giant rock weighs 150 pounds. In a moment, it will be on top of the skinny bespectacled man, and then his assistant will smash it with a hammer." In order to highlight the effect of the show, Xiao Chen, Wang Jingtian, and Dong Zhiqi laboriously lifted the boulder and approached Jia Muzhen step by step. Then, they slowly placed the boulder on his body. Then, the three of them pretended to heave a sigh of relief. However, the crowd below the stage gasped in shock. Seeing Xiaofan turn around to get the hammer, the host was so excited that he jumped up and down. His voice almost changed. "Everyone, please watch. Next, it's time to witness a miracle." Picking up the hammer on the ground, Xiaofan walked in front of Jia. He first looked around the audience, then slowly raised the hammer above his head, holding it high above the boulder. However, he did not immediately smash it down. Instead, he deliberately paused, wanting to create a tense atmosphere. "It's too scary. It won't kill that bespectacled guy, right? I don't even dare to watch. It's so scary." Sure enough, many of the timid girls below the stage covered their eyes. Although they didn't want to look on the surface, they couldn't help but peek at the situation on the stage through the gaps between their fingers. They felt their hearts thumping and their hearts thumping. Ha! Feeling that the audience had already held their breath, staring at Jia. All their attention was focused on the stage. Xiaofan took advantage of the situation and shouted. He swung his arm and smashed it down heavily. Bang! After a muffled sound, the boulder was instantly smashed into pieces and scattered on the ground. Jia shook off the remaining debris on his body and stood up unscathed. He smiled and cupped his hands at the audience below the stage. "What the F***ck? It's so awesome. He's still fine even after smashing it so hard. I was scared to death just now. I thought the bespectacled guy was going to be smashed flat. I didn't expect him to be fine. The martial arts club is too amazing. Each of them is so brave. I really want to join them." The audience below the stage seemed to have just recovered from their shock. After a short moment of daze, they suddenly burst into enthusiastic cheers and applause. Many people even wanted to rush up to the stage to see if Jia was all right. Fortunately, they were stopped by the security guards at the scene. "Everyone, don't be too excited. You've all seen how amazing the members of the martial arts club are, right? If you're interested in joining us, you're welcome. The doors of the martial arts club will always be open for you." Dong Zhiqi was overjoyed. He grabbed the microphone from the host's hand and took the opportunity to promote the martial arts club. "TSK. What's so great about it? It's just a street performance." Red Hair had already thought of a new idea. He immediately stood up and said disdainfully, "Since you've made your martial arts club sound so good, why don't we compete again?" "Oh? How does this student want to compete? Do you also want to perform smashing boulders on your chest?" The host had learned his lesson this time and quickly asked. Red Hair rolled his eyes, shook his head, and said, "We're not interested in performing these kinds of tricks to earn money." Then what do you want to perform?" The host was a little confused. "Weren't you two the ones who went up on the stage to challenge smashing bricks? Why are you suddenly not interested now?" Red Hair snorted. He took the host's microphone and walked to the front of the stage. He raised his chin and said to Dong Zhiqi in disdain, "Didn't you just say that your martial arts club is very powerful? Now I want to challenge other people in your club. Do you dare to come? Challenge other people?" Dong Zhiqi was stunned. He didn't know what trick this red hair man was going to play, so he asked cautiously. "That's right. Don't tell me you found two people to perform, and the others can't do it?" Red Hair pointed at Jia and Wang Jingtian in disdain and said, "It seems like the two of them are more powerful, and the others are useless trash. Then you're cheating the feelings of all the students." Shui Gao almost laughed out loud. This redhead was really quick to blend in with the environment, treating himself like a university student. However, at this moment, he already understood Redhead's new plan. The gloominess he felt earlier was completely swept away, and he was inwardly delighted. Dong Zhiqi was a little hesitant. He felt that he couldn't back down now. Red Hair was right. Although Jia Muzhen and Wang Zhengtian were members of the martial arts club and couldn't be considered as actors, only the two of them could perform. If he had to choose from the remaining people, only he could barely do it. Chapter 942. Thinking of this, Dong Zhiqi said in a deep voice, "If that's the case, then I'll compete with you. You choose the method of competition." "Are you kidding me? You're too insincere. You're the president, so you're definitely stronger than them. Aren't you bullying us?" The red-haired guy sneered and directly rejected Dong Zhiqi's proposal. "This won't do, that won't do. Then what do you want?" Dong Zhiqi asked angrily. The red-haired guy pointed at Xiao Chen and said with a smirk, "How about this? This guy is also from the martial arts club. We'll compete with him." Although he knew Dong Zhiqi's strength wasn't much, the red-haired guy's purpose on stage was to deal with Xiao Yi. Otherwise, he wouldn't be wasting time on stage. It wasn't like he was really here to perform. This. Dong Zhiqi was stunned. His expression was a little awkward as he subconsciously looked at Xiao Chen. "Okay, what do you want to compete with? I'll accompany you any time." To Dong Zhiqi's surprise, Xiao Chen did not reject him immediately. Instead, he smiled faintly and agreed readily. "You can lie on the table and perform breaking rocks with your chest. However, you have to let him do it. Do you dare?" The red-haired guy pointed at the young ninja. He was also a little surprised. He thought he would have to waste a lot of words, but he didn't expect Xiao Yi to agree immediately. This guy was quite easy to fool. Xiao Chen secretly laughed. Was the red-haired guy trying to kill him? However, he didn't care and said lightly, "Oh, okay, then come." "Xiao Yi, this is too dangerous. Let me do it." Dong Zhiqi was shocked and quickly stopped him. Dong Zhiqi was very surprised. What's wrong with this Xiao Yi? Usually, he had to find someone to help him move the bricks, but now he actually agreed so easily. This red-haired guy was clearly goading him. Why did he fall for it? TSK, did I really hit the nail on the head? Looks like your martial arts club is just a facade. You actually found two people to act as a substitute and put on a fake show for the audience. It's simply too disappointing. Red Hair held the microphone and mocked with a smirk on his face. When the audience heard Red Fur's words, some of them began to whisper and cast doubtful glances at Dong Zhiqi. "President Dong, don't worry. I'll be fine." Xiao Chen patted Dong Zhiqi's shoulder and gave him a reassuring look. Then, he laid down on the table and lightly said, "I'm ready. You guys carry the stone up." Sigh. Dong Zhiqi sighed. He knew that if he continued to persuade them, the situation would become even more troublesome and suspicious. Since Xiao Yi insisted, he didn't stop him and took Jia Muzhen to move the stones. When the audience saw that Xiao Chen was really lying down and preparing to be smashed, they became spirited again. They all concentrated and wanted to know if the martial arts club was a facade or not. When the stone was firmly placed on Xiao Chen's body, the young ninja was afraid that Xiao Chen would go back on his words. He impatiently picked up the hammer and raised it to the highest point. Then, he sneered and said, "Hee hee. Student, I'm going to smash it. Close your eyes and enjoy it." After saying that, the young ninja used all his strength and fiercely smashed down with the hammer. Bang! 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 3 muffled sounds could be heard. The first was the young ninja smashing the huge stone into pieces. The second was him being smashed on the head by a large piece of flying gravel. The third was the young ninja being knocked out by the gravel and falling straight onto the stage. Then, there was silence. The martial arts club members and the audience were all dumbfounded. Even the host was stunned with his mouth wide open. What was going on? The red-haired guy also couldn't come back to his senses for a long time. Just now, he was smashed by the brick. Why was he smashed again? Could it be that there was a grudge between the stone and the young ninja? Ha ha ha. After a moment of sluggishness, the audience suddenly burst into laughter. They didn't expect the martial arts club's performance to be so humorous. The guy in the ninja suit was like a clown. A few people couldn't stop slapping their thighs and laughed so hard that they couldn't straighten their backs. Xiao Qun stood up and patted the dust off his body. He looked at the dumbfounded red-haired guy and said with a smile, "Oh, I know. Actually, you guys also support the martial arts club in your heart. That's why you specifically came to cooperate with our performance, right?" "What? What do you mean?" The red-haired guy didn't react and was at a loss. "Our performance is actually a bit serious and not that funny. So, you and that clown came up together to challenge us and deliberately performed a self-mutilation performance to make the audience laugh. Is that what you mean?" Xiao Qun held his stomach and laughed exaggeratedly, "Ha ha ha. I have to say that you guys achieved the effect. I'm dying of laughter. I think you guys can win the Best Clown Award tonight." The audience below the stage, who had already stopped laughing, were immediately amused when they heard Xiao Chen's words. They continuously applauded and booed at Redhead, and there were even people who whistled at him. The red-haired guy was speechless. He opened his mouth but couldn't say anything. Listening to the ear-piercing laughter below the stage, he was so angry that his brain was about to spurt out. He could only pretend that he didn't hear what Xiao Qun said. He quickly rushed to the young ninja and kicked him a few times, trying to wake him up. "Stop kicking. If he accidentally kicks him until he becomes retarded again, you'll have to feed him for the rest of his life." Xiao Qun picked up the broken bricks and said leisurely, "How about it? Do you still want to compete? Our martial arts club will accompany you to the end." "Humph. I don't want to compete anymore." The red-haired guy snorted coldly and dragged the young ninja backstage with an exasperated expression. "The martial arts club is great. All of them are great." The audience cheered in unison and applauded endlessly. The eyes of the love-struck girls lit up and they covered their chests. They were almost fainted by the handsome guys on the stage. However, one of them fiercely stared at Xiao Qun. His chest was heaving up and down. It seemed that he was extremely angry. "Surnamed Du. This is the masterpiece of your master? This is the extremely powerful person you were talking about? What the hell is this performance? It's simply shameful." Shui Gao was furious as he pointed at Du Rongwei's nose and cursed. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. This time, not only did he fail to teach Xiao Yi a lesson, but he also allowed him to be in the limelight. Those who didn't know the truth would really think that the red-haired guy went up to be a clown and serve as a foil to the martial arts club. Du Rongwei was also dumbfounded. He tried his best to explain, "Young Master Shui, I think they might be deliberately numbing that brat Xiao Yi and waiting for him to get off the stage. After all, they can't directly make a move in front of everyone, right? That better be the case. Otherwise, don't even think about getting a single cent. You will have to pay your own medical fees." Shui Gao was still very angry. Chapter 943. "Don't worry, young Master Shui. My master and big brother Red Hair are definitely ready and waiting for Xiao Yi to appear." Du Rongwei quickly comforted him. "All right. Since you said so, I'll wait and see." Shui Gao frowned and said gloomily. Now that things had come to this, he could only wait. Just as Du Rongwei said, after Red Hair dragged the young ninja off the stage, he didn't go far. Instead, he went backstage and found an empty space to rest. Seeing that the young ninja was still unconscious, Red Hair slapped and pinched his face. After a long time, he still didn't wake up. Helpless, Red Hair could only get a bucket of water and directly pour it on the young ninja's face. Only then did he wake up. Fortunately, his injuries weren't too serious. After waking up, he simply used his martial arts to heal himself and was fine. However, when he thought of the humiliation he just made, his face still didn't look too good. The two of them discussed for a while and decided to wait here and not leave. When the martial arts department's performance ended and Xiaofan went backstage to act alone, they would make a sneak attack and ruthlessly beat him up. The martial arts club's performance was still going on. The next program was relatively dull. It was Dong Zhiqi's performance of the Golden Bell Iron Shirt. Although it was also very entertaining, and the audience was specially invited to interact with it, it wasn't as passionate as before. It could only be considered as a good ending to the program. But overall, the martial arts club's performance was a great success. After the performance, many students came to Dong Zhiqi to sign up. They wanted to join the martial arts club. There were also many love-struck girls that surrounded Wang Jingtian and occasionally took advantage of him. As soon as the two of them got off the stage, they were extremely busy and dizzy. Xiaofan and Jia Muzhen were responsible for cleaning up the stage. Both of them looked quite loser, and they were ordinary members of the martial arts club, so no one bothered them. Although Jia Muzhen showed his abs once and attracted a lot of girls, he was overshadowed by the handsome Wang Jingtian. After the two of them cleaned up, they each carried a pile of broken bricks and prepared to leave the stage. After taking 2 steps into the backstage area, Xiaofan saw the red-haired guy and the young ninja sitting at the side, glaring at him fiercely. Xiaofan secretly sneered. Suddenly, he slightly loosened his grip, only to see the broken brick in his hand fall straight to the ground, coincidentally smashing into the numb tendon of Jia Muzhen's leg. Although Jia Muzhen was a peak level 10 general, Xiaofan was a cultivator, and his level was much higher than his. Smashing him was as easy as flipping his hand. Ouch! As Jia Muzhen walked, he suddenly felt his leg go numb. One of his legs seemed to be out of his control. His whole body involuntarily fell forward, and the broken bricks in his hand all flew out. Be careful! Ouch! Xiaofan seemed to have jumped in fright. He tried to pull Jia Muzhen's arm, but he lost his balance and the broken bricks in his arms flew out like a fairy scattering flowers. Bang! 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 Ouch! The red-haired guy and the young ninja let out a blood-curdling screech at the same time. The broken bricks all hit their heads and bodies without missing a single one. They subconsciously wanted to block, but there were too many broken bricks. If they blocked from the top, they would be smashed from the bottom. If they blocked from the bottom, their heads would be split open. After a round of indiscriminate bombardment, the two of them were smashed until their heads were black and blue. It was a horrible sight. Are you okay? I'm sorry, my hand slipped and I couldn't support you. Seeing the two of them run away, Xiaofan quickly helped Jia Muzhen up. I'm fine, but did we hit someone just now? Why did I hear someone scream? Jia Muzhen picked up his glasses and put them back on. When he raised his head, he saw a pile of broken bricks on the ground and no one else. He couldn't help but wonder if he was hallucinating. Oh, we hit those 2 idiots on stage, but they're gone now, Xiaofan said casually as he squatted down to pick up the bricks. So it was them. Jia Muzhen nodded and could not be bothered to ask any more questions. In any case, he did not have a good impression of those two, so he simply bent down to help Xiaofan pick up the bricks. After cleaning up, Xiaofan informed Jia Muzhen and went to room 2 to find Su Chuxia. The martial arts club's performance was over, and Xiaofan had nothing else to do. It was Su Chuxia's turn soon, so he had to hurry up and learn the song so he wouldn't embarrass himself on stage. Hey! Counterattack man, why are you so late? I've been waiting for you for a long time. It's going to be Chuxia's turn soon, and you two haven't even matched the lyrics yet. Seeing Xiaofan push open the door slowly and enter, Tian Soran immediately jumped up from his seat. Didn't I rush over here as soon as my program ended? Xiaofan smiled helplessly. This Tian Suruan was always in such a rush. Don't look for excuses, they're all excuses. Hurry up and memorize these lyrics. Sister Sour Sour strongly recommended you. If you go on stage later and scratch your head, Sister Sour Sour won't let you off. Tian Sour Sour ran over with large strides, grabbed him, and handed him a copy of the lyrics. Oh, don't worry, I'm very good at remembering lyrics. I only need to read it once to memorize it. Huh? There's a dialect in it? Xiaochen took the lyrics and realized that he and Su Chuxia were singing, "You Are a Song in My Heart." Xiaochen seemed to have heard it before when he was shopping with the young mistress, but he didn't have much of an impression of it. He only vaguely remembered that a few of the lyrics were sung in a dialect. "TSK TSK, Sister Soran wanted to quietly watch you act cool, but you didn't even last 5 seconds. The dialect of this song is a little troublesome, and it's not easy to learn. Hurry up and listen to it a few times to familiarize yourself with it." Tian Soran rolled his eyes in disdain. He opened the prepared song on his phone and played it for Xiaochen. "Oh, actually, I've learned a few words of this dialect before. I was just teasing you just now." Xiaochen carefully listened to it once and completely memorized the beat and lyrics, so he teased her with a smile. "Really? Then hurry up and say a few lines to Sister Soran. I want to see if you're accurate." Tian Soran squinted his eyes and stared at Xiaochen suspiciously, as if he didn't believe him. "Then listen carefully." Xiaochen cleared his throat and recited unhurriedly, "Tian So Sui is a cha-cha." "That's it? That's it? Half of it is in Mandarin. What does it have to do with a dialect? You're obviously trying to fool Sister Soran." Tian Soran said with a frown after waiting for a long time.